Of Earth's ozone layer would expose us to damaging ultraviolet rays. The teacher did not make students type their essays. I made her cry. I do not usually eat 3 meals a day, but I am used to it. I am getting used to it. He didn't let me play the guitar. He is supposed to come tomorrow. He ran away having taken the money. Terribly having frightened, he stopped and looked back. Having finished her work, she went to office. It is high time we discussed the matter. It is time to review the protocol on testing nuclear weapons. It is high time we made the people conscious about our national interest. It is time I took my medicine. I heard the boy crying for his food. Our teacher makes us work very hard. The train was supposed to arrive at 11:30, but it was an hour late. Shanto used to walk in the morning. A psychologist believes that incentives make us want to increase our productivity. He had the house painted. What kind of verb is the word had? A causative verb. You had better stay here. It is quite cold. You'd better wear your coat. No sooner had than. Scarcely had when. Hardly had when. Before দ্বারা দুটি ক্লোজ যুক্ত হলে প্রথম ক্লোজটির প্রিন্সিপাল ভার্ব এর পাস্ট পার্টিসিপল হবে এবং দ্বিতীয় ক্লোজটির প্রিন্সিপাল ভার্ব এর পাস্ট ফর্ম হবে। নো সুনার হ্যাড, স্কার্সলি হ্যাড, হার্ডলি হ্যাড প্লাস সাবজেক্ট প্লাস প্রিন্সিপাল ভার্বের পাস্ট পার্টিসিপল। নো সুনার হ্যাড দ্য টিচার কাম দেন দ্য স্টুডেন্ট স্টুড আপ। কোন বাক্যে অ্যাজ ইফ অ্যাজ দো উইশ এর পরে টু বি ভার্ব থাকলে তার সাধারণত ওয়্যার হয়, কিন্তু কোন বাক্যে অ্যাজ ইফ অ্যাজ দো উইশ এর পরে অন্য কোনো ভার্ব থাকলে তার পাস্ট ফর্ম হয়। আবার যদি অ্যাজ ইফ অ্যাজ দো এর আগে পাস্ট ইনডিফিনিট টেন্স থাকে তাহলে পরবর্তী অংশে সাধারণত পাস্ট পারফেক্ট টেন্স হবে। He walks as if he were lame. He talks as if he knew everything. She proceeded as if he had not spoken. He talked as if he had known everything. কোন বাক্যে সিন্স এর পূর্বের ক্লোজটি প্রেজেন্ট ইনডিফিনিট টেন্স অথবা প্রেজেন্ট পারফেক্ট টেন্স এবং সিন্স এর পরের ক্লোজটি পাস্ট ইনডিফিনিট টেন্সের নিয়ম অনুযায়ী হয়। মেনি ডেজ হ্যাভ পাস্ট সিন্স মাই ফাদার ডাইড। কোন বাক্যে সিন্স এর পূর্বের ক্লোজটি পাস্ট ইনডিফিনিট টেন্স এবং সিন্স এর পরের ক্লোজটি পাস্ট পারফেক্ট টেন্স এর নিয়ম অনুযায়ী হয়। মেনি ডেজ পাস্ট সিন্স আই হ্যাড গট দ্য জব। প্রেজেন্ট পারফেক্ট কন্টিনিউয়াস টেন্স অনুসারে কোন কাজ একটি নির্দিষ্ট সময় ধরে চলছে বুঝালে ফর ব্যবহৃত হয়। ফর 6 ইয়ার্স, ফর এ উইক, ফর 3 মান্থস, ফর 5 আওয়ার্স ইত্যাদি। আবার কাজটি যদি কোনো নির্দিষ্ট সময় থেকে শুরু হয়ে এখনো চলছে বোঝায় তবে সিন্স ব্যবহৃত হয়, যেমন সিন্স দিস মর্নিং, সিন্স লাস্ট উইক, সিন্স ইয়েস্টারডে, সিন্স 2012, সিন্স 9 o'clock ইত্যাদি। I have been writing a letter since this morning. He has been playing cricket for 2 hours. I have been living in Dhaka since 2000. Rishan walks as if he were lame. We have not had a holiday since the beginning of the year. He talks as if he were mad. I wish I had the wings of a bird. I came home after the rain had stopped. He walks as if he were lame. It would be pleasant if we knew where to go. The patient had died before the doctor came. He speaks as if he were a man. He speaks as if he knew everything. He talks as though he were a child. Hardly had we taken shelter under a big tree when the storm started. No sooner had the teacher entered the class than the students stood up. No sooner had the thief seen the police than he ran away. Choose the correct sentence D. No sooner had I come than he went away. Hardly had we reached school when the bell rang. It has rained or has been raining since morning. It is many years since I met you. It was long since we had met last. Choose the correct sentence C. He has been living here for 5 months. He talks as if he were mad. My friend had left before I came. Choose the correct sentence A. I wish I were you. He talks as if he knew everything. I wish I were a wonderful man. Choose the correct sentence. I wish I were you. I wish the prices of the essential commodities would come down soon. Tell her to switch off the lights before she left. Please stop before you get into trouble. I reached the station after the train had left. He had written the book before he retired. My friend had left before I came. The train will have left before we reach the station. Choose the correct tense B. I had looked for a good doctor before I met you. Many patients began to show symptoms after they stopped taking the drug. Choose the correct sentence. The train had left before we reached the station. I wish I were a millionaire. I wish I sang. I wish I had the wings of a bird. He has been ill since Monday last. Many years have passed since I met my friend. 100 years have passed since Rabindranath Tagore got the Nobel Prize. Choose the correct form of verb A. He has been absent since Friday. Since 1996, Rohim has been living in Dhaka. He has been ill since Friday last. Identify the correct sentence B. No sooner had we reached the station than the train left. Rohim has been living here since 1950. Some days have passed since my father died. Use the right form of verb. I have been living here since 1972. Identify the correct sentence. D. No sooner had we reached the station than the train left. Hardly had the train stopped before we got down. Choose the correct sentence. C. Scarcely had we started when it began to rain. Brazil have won the World Cup 5 times. It has been raining for 3 days. I wish I were a child. I wish I were a child again. Jerry is at furnace. Jerry is at our furnace since he was 4. I have hoped to meet you ever since I read your first novel. They arrived here after you had left. I have been suffering from fever for 3 days. Choose the correct sentence. C. He has been living here for 5 months. He has been sleeping for 5 hours and is still sleeping. We have been reading in this school for 4 years. 20 years have passed since my father died. They have been digging the canal for a week. D number. I have been lying on the floor for 3 hours. The baby had laid her teddy bear down in bed next to her before she fell asleep. Whenever I meet him, I see him talking over the phone as though he were a big merchant. Which of the following option is incorrect? Rina ran out of the front door of the house by screaming loudly as if she had seen a ghost. B. By screaming. এটা বলতে পারছে. They are kind to me. They treat me as if I were their own son. I wish I were a poet. It has been raining since early morning. No sooner had he entered the room when lights went out and everybody began to scream. No sooner had he entered than the lights went out. They stole the jewelry and walked out of the retail outlet as if they hadn't done anything. The boy was so dirty that he looked as if he had been lying in the mud. Neither Sophia nor I am capable of solving the problem. The doctor insisted that his patient take it easy for 3 months. কোনো বাক্যে দুটি ক্লোজ লিস্ট দ্বারা যুক্ত হলে লিস্ট যুক্ত ক্লোজটির সাবজেক্টের পর শুড বসে এবং শুড এর পরবর্তী প্রিন্সিপাল ভার্বের বেস ফর্ম বসে। ওয়াক ফাস্ট লিস্ট ইউ শুড মিস দ্য ট্রেন। কোনো বাক্যে দুটি ক্লোজের মধ্যে প্রথম ক্লোজটির সাবজেক্টের পর হ্যাড হোপড থাকলে দ্বিতীয় ক্লোজটির সাবজেক্টের পর উড বসে এবং পরবর্তী প্রিন্সিপাল ভার্বের বেস ফর্ম হয়। হি হ্যাড হোপড দ্যাট আই উড গো দেয়ার। কোন বাক্যে দুটি ক্লোজের মধ্যে প্রথম ক্লোজটি পাস্ট টেন্সে হলে এবং দ্যাট যুক্ত পরের অংশে নেক্সট ডে, নেক্সট মান্থ, নেক্সট উইক, নেক্সট ইয়ার, নেক্সট মর্নিং এটসেট্রা থাকলে পরের ক্লোজটির সাবজেক্টের পর উড প্লাস ভার্বের বেস ফর্ম বসে। হি সেড দ্যাট হি উড গো দেয়ার নেক্সট মর্নিং। প্রশ্নবোধক বাক্য করতে বাক্যের শুরুতে টেন্স অনুযায়ী অক্সিলারি ভার্ব যেমন am, is, are, was, were, have, has, had, do, does, did ইত্যাদি বসে। ডাজ ডিড শুরুতে থাকলে প্রিন্সিপাল ভার্বের বেস ফর্ম হয়। ডব্লিউএইচ কোশ্চেন করতে শুরুতে ডব্লিউএইচ কোশ্চেন বসে এবং তারপর টেন্স অনুযায়ী অক্সিলারি ভার্ব বসে। এক্সাম্পল, Shakib went to London. Where did Shakib go? Mushfiq is a good player. Is Mushfiq a good player? সাধারণত কোনো বাক্যে প্রিপোজিশনের পরে কোনো প্রিন্সিপাল বসলে ভার্বের সাথে আইএনজি যুক্ত হবে। My father insists on using quality materials. Which of the following sentence is correct? C. Why have you done this? According to the conditions of my scholarship, after finishing my degree, I will be employed of the university. Almost everyone fails to pass his driver's test on the first time. Select the right word. He ran first, lest he should miss the train. How many eggs have your hands laid this month? Students had better check the schedule of the examination. It is time he realized his mistake. It is essential that the patient take medicine regularly. Have you ever been to England? Ahraj ran first, lest he should miss the class. It is our duty of obeying our parents. Which of the following is correct? Have you finished the work yet? Walk carefully, lest you should stumble. Walk fast, lest you should miss the train. The old man walked slowly, lest he should fall. What did you do last night? Find out the correct sentence. B. I told her everything lest she should misunderstand me. Complete the sentence. He walked fast lest he should miss the train. He is debarred from taking the examination. Where did he go? Which of the following sentence is not correct? A number not correct. Choose the correct sentence. C. Did they write books? Who are you? Which of the following sentence is not correct? Where did he went? এটা ভুল। What does he want? ঠিক আছে। What do they do? ঠিক আছে। What are they doing? ঠিক আছে। Choose the correct sentence. B. Does he have a house? Fill in the gap from any one of the following. B. How often do you exercise? Keep watch on my bag lest the thief should steal it. Does he have a house? Choose the correct sentence. B. What have you been doing for the last 3 hours? When did you talk to her? How long have you been learning English? Do you know why her mother looks sad? Some people are convinced of doing something for their health by living on energy bars or cornflakes. There is no credit in earning money illegally. The underlined word is a gerund. Choose the sentence with the correct form of the verb. A. Why did the accident happen? Why did you have your hair cut? ভার্ব প্লাস ইনফিনিটিভ নিম্নের ভার্বগুলোর পর আরেকটি ভার্ব আসলে তার পূর্বে সাধারণত টু হবে। সাধারণত কোনো সেন্টেন্সে প্রিপোজিশন টু এর পরে প্রিন্সিপাল থাকলে তার বেস ফর্মে বসে টু প্লাস ভার্বের বেস ফর্ম। হি ইন্টেন্ডস টু স্টে ইন দ্য কান্ট্রি ফর 2 months। নিম্নোক্ত ভার্বগুলোর পর সাধারণত ইনফিনিটিভ ও জিরান উভয়ই বসে। স্টার্ট, বিগিন, কন্টিনিউ, লাভ, লাইক, হেট, ম্যান, প্রিফার, কুইট, রিমেম্বার, স্টপ, ট্রাই, ফরগেট, রেগ্রেট। Example, Nazim started to walk home. Nazim started walking home. She has continued to work at the store. She has continued working off the store. I love to read novels. I love reading novels. I never remember to lock the door. I never remember locking the door. He stopped to smoking. রুল 4, এক্সপ্লেইন, লার্ন, নো, শো, টিচ ইত্যাদি ভার্বগুলোর পরে ইনফিনিটিভ বসাতে হলে এদের পূর্বে হাউ বসিয়ে তারপর ইনফিনিটিভ বসাতে হয়। মুক্তা নোজ হাউ টু সিং। এ বার্ড হ্যাজ টু লার্ন হাউ টু ইউজ ইটস উইংস। হি শোড মি হাউ টু প্লে দ্য গিটার। ভার্ব প্লাস জিরান্ট নিম্নোক্ত ভার্বগুলোর পর আরেকটি ভার্ব আসলে তার সাথে সাধারণত আইএনজি হবে, যেমন অ্যাডমিট, অ্যাভয়েড, অ্যাকনলেজ, অ্যাপ্রিসিয়েট, অ্যালাউ, ডিলে, কনসিডার, কমপ্লিট, ডিনাই ইত্যাদি। কোন সেন্টেন্সে কিছু প্রিন্সিপাল ভার্ব সি, ফাইন্ড, ওয়াচ, রিমেম্বার এর পরে অবজেক্ট থাকলে তার সাধারণত আইএনজি যুক্ত হবে। আই স দ্য বার্ড সিটিং অন দ্য রুফ। আই স এ ম্যান ওয়াকিং অন এ রুফ। যদি কোনো সিম্পল সেন্টেন্সে দুটি ভার্ব থাকে তাহলে দ্বিতীয় ভার্বের সাথে আইএনজি যুক্ত করতে হবে অথবা ভার্বটির পরে টু বসাতে হয়। আই স দ্য গার্ল লাফিং। শারমিন ওয়েন্ট টু মার্কেট টু বাই সাম বুকস। নিম্নলিখিত এক্সপ্রেশনগুলোর পরে জিরান্ট ব্যবহৃত হয়। হ্যাভ এ গুড টাইমের পরে জিরান্ট, হ্যাভ এ ডিফিকাল্ট টাইমের পরে জিরান্ট, হ্যাভ নো ডিফিকাল্টি ইন এর পরে জিরান্ট, ওয়েস্ট ওয়ান্স টাইম এর পরে জিরান্ট, স্পেন্ড ওয়ান্স টাইম এর পরে জিরান্ট, হ্যাভ এ হার্ড টাইম এর পরে জিরান্ট, হ্যাভ এ প্রবলেম এর পরে জিরান্ট, হ্যাভ সাম প্রবলেমস এর পরে জিরান্ট, হ্যাভ নো প্রবলেম এর পরে জিরান্ট, হ্যাভ ফান এর পরে জিরান্ট, হ্যাভ ডিফিকাল্টি এর পরে জিরান্ট। I am having a hard time living with my budget. I have difficult time understanding them. Nazim had fun playing video games. She had no problem getting from the airport to the hotel. Go ভার্বের সাথে নিম্নোক্ত এক্সপ্রেশন গুলো জিরান ভার্ব প্লাস আইএনজি বসে। Go bowling, go dancing, go hunting, go suffering, go skiing, go boating, go fishing, go hiking, go sailing, go sightseeing, go camping, go jogging, go running, go swimming, go shopping. হিয়ার, সি, ফিল, স্মেল, ওয়াচ, নোটিস, লিসেন, অবজার্ভ ইত্যাদি ভার্বগুলোর অবজেক্টের পর বেস ফর্ম এবং প্রেজেন্ট পার্টিসিপল উভয় ব্যবহার হলেও প্রেজেন্ট পার্টিসিপলের ব্যবহার অধিক প্রচলিত। দে হিয়ার্ড দ্য গার্ল সিঙ্গিং ইন এ মেলোডিয়াস ভয়েস। লিসেন, আই ক্যান হিয়ার সামওয়ান নকিং এট দ্য ডোর। হি ওয়াচড দ্য বোট ফ্লোটিং ডাউন দ্য রিভার। নোট, কমপ্লিটেড অ্যাকশন যে কাজগুলো চোখের পলকে অতি অল্প সময়ের মধ্যে ঘটে যায় বুঝালে ভার্বের বেস ফর্ম বসে। যেমন I saw the thief climb over the fence, I saw the sun rise, I saw the man enter into the room. Passive ক্ষেত্রে টু ইনফিনিটিভ বসে। The thief was seen to climb over the fence. He intends to stay in the country for 2 months. I took a map with me as I didn't want to lose my way on the journey. Many students will now be starting to worry about their exams result. We watched the boat floating down the river. One of the four sentences given in each question is grammatically wrong. The alternative is your answer. B. I intend going to Rajshahi. এটা হচ্ছে ভুল বাক্য। I don't think you will have any difficulty in getting a driving license. My uncle considered selling his business when it was running really low. I saw Naushin riding skillfully. She found the boy crying. It is our duty to obey our parents. A policeman caught the boys throwing stones at passing trains. Many scientists are still hoping to find life on another planet. Identify the correct sentence. C. He is working hard to stand first. We helped him to finish the work. He worked too slowly to complete. They started writing the lesson before the teacher came in. The customer grew tired of waiting. The underlined word is a gerund. নিচের কোনটি শুদ্ধ বাক্য? D. I saw the bird sitting on the roof. নিচের কোনটি শুদ্ধ বাক্য? B. I have finished reading the book. He watched you go away. The woman was seen putting the ring in her bag. My father never approved her marrying of a foreigner. I saw him go. অথবা I saw him going. Certain fish eggs contain droplets of oil, allowing them to float on the surface of the water. I saw the beggar lying on the floor. A rolling stone gathers no moss. How gerund is formed? Gerund হচ্ছে verb plus ing. I cannot afford to pay such high prices. You should know where to park your car. The child needed physical therapy to counteract the rigidity that had tragically immobilized his legs. When the bell rang, everyone stopped moving. The man is trying hard to lose weight. As I reached home, I saw my sister shouting for help. Choose the correct sentence. D. I don't like to discuss politics. I prefer doing what I like, even though it means not having much money. That was a great match. I will never forget seeing Ronaldo score that goal. It is not difficult to disassemble an alarm clock. Your classmate insulted you to pay off old scores. Asma reminded me to take medicine. He convinced me to say so. Nipa seems to have tried her best for the test. I regret telling Margina about the wedding. A gerund does the work of a verb and a noun. I went to the shop to buy a newspaper. I asked the students to comment on the topic we choose. I saw a man walking on a rope. Finding unknown quantities is the test of algebra. I walk. এখানে walk হচ্ছে verb because walking is a good exercise. এখানে walking হচ্ছে gerund. They were busy collecting the materials they needed. I was very surprised to hear that she didn't pass the exam. Depending on your need, you may change your plan. He was standing under a tree waiting for his friends. The headmaster wants to speak to you. Nipa seems to have tried her best for the test. I wanted to stop to buy some presents, but we didn't have enough time. People living in villages do not get many of the urban facilities. What you have done is simply a crying shame. Crying shame অর্থ দুঃখজনক। Verb phrase, verb plus ing. কি নিম্নোক্ত verb phrase এর পরে আরেকটি verb আসলে তার সাথে ing হবে। Approve of plus verb plus ing. Adjunct to এর পরে verb আসলে ing. Accustomed to এর পরে ভার্বের ing, be better of এর পর ভার্বের ing, care for এর পরে ভার্বের ing, burst out এর পরে ভার্বের ing, carry on, capable of, count on, conducive to, can't help, cannot mind, should not help, mind, could not help, mind, confess to, talk about, rejoice এর পরে ভার্বের তার সাথে ing, forget about, give up, go on, get used to, get through, insist on, keep on, look forward to, object to, put off, similar to, think about, think of, with a view to, worthy of, excel এর পরে ভার্বের তার সাথে ing. I couldn't mend the computer myself, so I had it mended at the shop. We look forward to receiving a response from you. In many ways, riding a bicycle is similar to driving a car. Fill in the blank with the right option. I am looking forward to seeing you. He advised me to give up smoking. He gave up playing football when he got married. The team is made up of 11 players. He came here with a view to giving us a surprise. I went to the market with a view to buying a book. The old man cannot help having a cup of tea. The man came here with a view to seeing his mother. I look forward to hearing from you soon. Correct the sentence. The father could not help crying at his condition. Tawfiq went to library with a view to reading a book. I went to the library with a view to gaining knowledge. We are committed to withdrawing our troops. He came to Dhaka with a view to visiting a new place. I look forward to hearing from you. I am not used to working at this time of the day. There are people who cannot help laughing when they see someone sleep on a banana skin. I cannot help going there. He has come here with a view to negotiating with me. My father insists on using quality materials for the construction of our new house. He worked instead of playing. She could not stop laughing. I cannot help laughing at the sight. Shahin's behavior is worthy of emulation by all the youngsters. She is looking forward to going to Europe. He gave up playing tennis. Are you looking forward to seeing your friend again? The teacher punished the student with a view to correcting him. When Jane came to Britain, she had to get used to driving. Sentence completion. Complete the following sentence. Had I known you were waiting outside, I would have invited you to come in. Hospitals treat the sick. Women are too often constrained by family commitments. Being fat does not necessarily kill you, but it increases the risk that you will suffer from nasty diseases. In the 18th century, the Mughal Empire began to disintegrate. The film was directed in the director's usual idiosyncratic style. He is quite diplomatic in dealing with people. Reason is the highest faculty bestowed on human by their creator. The horror movie scared them out of their wits. He had a bad headache. I shall not appear at the examination this year. The price of rice are rising. To stay healthy, we must plan to have a balanced diet. Every driver must be held responsible for his own actions. Nobody knocked him down. It was an accident. The Democratic Party's candidate accepted defeat in the small hours of morning. 2 of the children have to sleep in one bed, but the other 3 have separate ones. Stalking are long shocks. Many students will be starting to worry about their exam result. A climate is a state of the environment. We must look pleased or else he will be dissatisfied. The parents become extremely anxious when their son had not returned by 11 o'clock. I always remember the holiday I spent in your home, she said. He knew it was a very risky operation, but he was determined to carry it out. She has dyed her hair a beautiful shade of brown. We must keep our fingers crossed that the weather will stay fine for the picnic tomorrow. No one can deny that he is clever. To celebrate the arrival of spring, Bangladesh Television organized a special function. He stopped his car abruptly when the light turned red. Anger, even when it is sinful, has one virtue: it overcomes sloth. Although a few years ago the fundamental facts about the Milky Way seemed very well established, now even its mass and radius have come into question. Because she had a reputation for querulousness, we were surprised and pleased when she greeted us so affably. A metaphorical statement is an implied comparison. It does not compare things explicitly, but suggests likeness between them. Give my compliments to him. He had a bad attack of fever. He intends to stay in the country for 2 months. They have pledged their support for our case. In business, success is often contingent. Success is often contingent on being able to anticipate change. The revolution in art has not lost its steams. It rages on as fiercely as ever. Reticent by nature, Fahim spoke very little, even to his own family members. Indeed, public auctions of the items would be the fairest and most transparent manner to sell the goods. He took on a confident stance and started to advise the more worker. Choose the correct sentence. D. His brother had left before I reached there. Which of the following sentence is correct? C. Neither of the two boys was strong. Which of the following sentence is correct? A. I think him to be my best friend. During our walk along the beach, we noticed the shifting reflections on the undulating surface of the water. We can safely say that the business is now concluded, so that's it. There is a deadline, I am afraid, so you must not deter. If you follow your argument, I suggest you use less complicated words. If it is a genuine picture, it is real. I would be most obliged if you grant me to pay later. I believe we meet for lunch in an expensive restaurant, and you choose the priciest item on the menu. Rows of the canola fields in the prairies made the whole world look like a golden blanket. Some of the characters in the play fear Macbeth, but no one loves him as much as Lady Macbeth. Hearing his unusual comments, I could not help interpreting in his speech. He asked me when I went there. I had this since I was a child. I had this dream since I was a child. He brought ruin upon himself by embezzling of his funds. If you didn't procrastinate so much, you would get more work done. The manager sternly reprimanded us for submitting work of inferior quality. Marketers often fabricate illusory stories to get more products sold. Following his illness, he was kept under close surveillance for a week. A stitch in time saves 9. Fill in the blank with appropriate words. Either of these roads leads to the airport. They came to Dhaka with a view to visiting. Scientific research has established that fresh flowers can improve mood, prompt a smile, and soften the ambience. Despite his growing wealth and power, Arif remains a humble man. How often do you have to renew a passport? The art teacher tried to teach the student which color coordinate others. I have a dream that one day this nation will live out of the true meaning of its creed, that all men are created equal. A cock crews, but a crow cows. One of the effects of globalization is cultural assault. The investment proposal appears very promising prima facie. The train has already arrived from Rangpur. He is 35. He has reached middle age. Through trial and error, he found the right answer by chance. In a vociferous assault, the gang fired their weapons at the policemen. Rima was excited to begin her new job, and we were impressed by her eagerness. We had to face a lot of humiliation due to their disgraceful act. Rima was excited to begin her new job, and we were impressed by her eagerness. The sparrows were chirping. Engineers are still trying to successfully harness the power of sunlight for efficient production of electricity. Someday, scientists will be able to find a cure for cancer. Biplov and Tarek are business associates and have arranged to meet at the sales conference. What did the injured man say when he reached us? Antibiotics inhibit the growth of bacteria. The camel is the sheep of the desert. The camel is the sheep of the desert. Speech is silver, but silence is golden. Blood is always thicker than water. The party was in full swing when we arrived. The stockings are long shocks. I have a dream that one day this nation will live out the true meaning of its creed, that all men are created equal. It will be your task to make sure the flow of traffic is maintained without interruption. Choose the correct option. After 3 months of investigations, the cause of the accident was still unclear. We ought to use more locally made products instead of foreign one. The economists strive to reach an argument on the threadbare cause of the recession. Spring is on the way. It will be warmer soon. Lack of exercise and high-fat diets have long been known to be factors in heart attacks. Most of the issues discussed here in the meeting were trivial and only a few were significant. Questions will be answered by a staff of experts. A sedentary worker requires more calories than a laborious one. This method is not wrong, but there may be a more effective method than this. Tagore's birthday was celebrated with songs and recitation. You can reach your goal only when you aspire. Aspire was to aim high. The emergency services reached the accident site as soon as the news of the train collision was relayed to them. The officer has stayed away from overt populism, such as the rising the income tax exemption limit. Mohit was advised to take a rest since he broke his leg in the accident. We must endeavor to mitigate the miseries of poor. Rafiq failed in the examination because none of his answer was pertinent to the question asked. The site chosen for construction of the building is in the heart of the city. Taciturn by nature, Cynthia spoke very little even to her own family member. The transition to e-bus would not lower the level of emission, but merely change their place of origin. The trade deficit has been growing rapidly, and the capital inflow, both the fund it could not get, disrupted in case U.S. monetary policy get tightened both than expected. It is not necessary for a country with fiscal deficits, high inflation, weak bank, and one that is prone to macro panics to completely open up its capital account. Unfortunately, their house got burgled while they were at the restaurant celebrating their anniversary. After the football match, the crowd trickled out of the station into the nearest cafe and restaurant. The officer has stayed away from overt populism, such income tax exemption limit. We must endeavor to mitigate the miseries of the poor. The educated tribal young man's radical ideas were founded on by most of his elders, who found them too heretical for their conservative values. The bureaucrat was indicted for his role in the scam. The fire in the museum results in extensive damage. He claims that he is a millionaire, but I don't believe him. It is obligatory for every taxpayer to submit the tax return to the income tax department. The melodious words of the mother comforted the playful child. The great scientist presented himself with ability and moderation, although the conference in a world ruled by men for so many years, women are only thought fit for jobs like typists, receptionists, and teachers. The critics had to admit that the ballet performance was superb. Soothing music helps us to unwind after a long day at work and therefore diminishes stress level. This game is a good one, but don't get carried ahead by it. It has not been decided yet. Small investors who are oblivious of the sponsors and directors' intents consequently lose their hard-earned money in the stock market. Despite the polar bear's tremendous weight and height, it is capable of running at tremendous speed. It is not difficult to soothe an alarm clock. Genetic engineering in humans should be used to treat disease, not to foster genetic uniformity. In his short story, the author depicts the complexity of modern life and the predicament of modern man. Some students are pragmatic and want to take only the course for which he couldn't escape. Although he didn't consider himself a skeptic, he felt that the inconsistencies in her story warranted certain degree of incredulity on his part. Few could have predicted the stellar result of our seasons. Because of past aberration with his superiors, some doubted if he would be willing to obey at all. Having inherited a staff known for squandering resources, the new chairman had no choice but to introduce a number of more efficient practices. Iodine deficiency is recorded in the remote mountain regions. However, it is no longer unusual in the lowlands where iodized salt is available. Bangladesh has been one of the pioneers in formulating and implementing a national drug policy in the face of the massively powerful and lucrative global pharmaceutical industries. Snorkeling is one kind of diving. If someone is straight line, he she is serious. Even though the surface of the ocean seems smooth, as we look at it, it is irregular at the floor. The pursuit for ambition fills one with apathy towards the task undertaken. Guilt about neglecting their children makes parents irresponsible in the toy shop. When the disease is at the latent stage, it is almost impossible to determine its existence by more observation. Money seems to be the primary motivator for most people. It was a very embarrassing situation. We need to have ICT skills to become a competitive economy. The sweet words of the mother comforted the child. The words of his resignation letter implied he was unhappy. In the poem, the poet has decried a sunset. Everyone has the right to equal access to public service in his country. Clearly, this is a serious issue that deserves further study. In the essay, the student has written about a road trip. The fact that some birds fly hundreds of miles to migrate without ever having to stop is simply amazing. Scientists have discovered a liquid which boils at about 8.2 degrees Celsius with partial decomposition. What does global warming have to do with overpopulation? The museum did not have any painting by S.M. Sultan. The person who has committed such an abominable crime should be severely punished. If he failed in the examination because his answer were not pertinent to the question. As I detest Mr. Chaudhury's behavior towards me, I will not tolerate it anymore. Due to the continual noise from the street below, I couldn't comprehend what I was reading. I think my brother has healed his friends badly and displayed selfishness for a long time. The discovery of penicillin was a sensational event. The highway agency warned drivers to the extra careful and to delay journeys if bad weather persists. We have to do some research in order to determine the possible factors that could affect the outcome of the project. The government confirms that the project have been maintained with great success. A day on Mars is slightly longer than a day on Earth. Like foolish people who continue to live near an active volcano, many of us are unconcerned about the threat of atomic warfare and its attendant destruction. In such a heterogeneous grouping, a wide range of talent must be expected. The type of clothing people wear tells others a lot about who they are. The doctor truly checked the patient and found only minor problems. The Bangladesh girls football beat the Indian girls team 2-1 with a last-minute goal. It's partly finished. There is something left. Let your conscience be your guide. I really enjoy stories that are set in the distant future. Liberty is not easy, but it is far better to be an unfettered fox, hungry and threatened on its own, than a well-fed canary safe and secure in its cage. In Germany, her startling powers as a novelist are widely admired, but she is almost unknown in the English-speaking world because of the difficulties of translating her eccentric prose. London is being racked by outrageous crime against architectural taste. Melbourne has retained its status as the world's most livable city for the fourth consecutive year. The narrator of a novel written in the third person is called an omniscient narrator. The evil of class and race hatred must be eliminated while still in an embryonic state. You are at loggerheads when you are in strong disagreement. Since the island soil has been barren for so many years, the islanders must import much of their food. Make sure you read all the instructions carefully before setting up the device. After the governor's third overseas trip, voters complained that he was paying too little attention to domestic affairs. Scientists have unearthed fossils of human-like creature in a deep cave in South Africa. Counting is a combination of several skills, each building on the other. Migrants steaming into Europe have braved fierce storms, navigated turbulent wet waters, and encountered police batons. Hamidur Rahman was assigned to make the design of the Shohid Minar. He was unable to catch the allusion to the play in my speech. London's status as the world's most influential city was largely a turnaround from its past glories. Given the astronomic in-house prices in the city, more and more people are staying in the suburbs. The feeling of having seen or experienced something before is called Deja vu. Wives and stress is an idiom that refers to homeless. High school students should not be categorized as being immature or native. Albert Einstein's theory of relativity laid the foundation of the possibility of time travel. A good teacher is one who can help his or her student identify errors in their work and suggest ways to rectify them. In some countries, much of the natural environment has been transformed into farmland as a result of subsequent loss of species richness. Students should learn in an environment regardless of pressure and with the freedom to choose what they want to learn. We have to transcend our political differences and come together to lead a joint fight against poverty and corruption. We were just having a friendly chat about cricket. My broken ankle is hurting me. You may overcome cultural shock by getting accustomed to the new ways of life. Taking the time to eat a good breakfast is a simple way to make the morning better and the day easier. Frequent closure badly affect academic progress. The ozone is the upper layers of Earth's atmosphere is beneficial protecting animal and plant life from dangerous ultraviolet radiation. Once the audience began to applaud and laugh at his jokes, Monem felt more relaxed. There is a cavity in one of your front teeth. It was so dark that the security guard could not see anyone. The proposal was tentative, means the proposal was indefinite. Some of my relatives have left for Canada hoping to find jobs. Misuse of atomic energy has wreaked destruction. Camping sites usually provide facilities for entertainment. He got a lease of land in his village. Raihan was bright but lazy because of his sloth. He was never promoted. The change in the organization was so gradual that they seemed almost imperceptible. Companies often need to recognize their business and marketing in response to significant change in the business environment. It is always embarrassing when you misunderstand the customs of other countries. In short, nothing much happened at the meeting. Frequent closures of universities badly affect academic progress. He is neither punctual nor efficient. A troupe of artists has gone to entertain the soldiers. I'll be with you in a quarter of an hour. The party was excellent and I'd like to thank all the people concerned. The police questioned each witness in turn. Our thoughts centered on the missing students. The player is not fat. On the contrary, he is quite skinny. It is difficult for me to express exactly what I mean in a foreign language. Our country is facing an environmental crisis that need to be served. Our country is facing severe environment crisis that need to be tackled. A man who cannot win honor on his own age will have a very small chance of winning it from posterity. Megalomania is a kind of condition in which a person has an exaggerated view of her or his own power. They stretched in never-ending line. Show your ticket, otherwise you will not be allowed to enter. I can't quite make out what the sign says. Corruption in different public sectors is an open secret. I decided not to take the course because it's too easy. Take care of this letter, it's urgent. The flood did not affect us that much, thank goodness. Although Barbara argues strongly that current policies are unjust, she does not advocate any particular changes. Although the terms toad and frog refer to two different animals belonging to different genus, some students confuse the trees. She need to run some errands. John told me yesterday that he was getting married in the spring. The war criminal was hanged. Cricket enjoys a huge following. It needs rigorous practice to become a successful cricketer. Don't see that film. It's extremely awful. During the time of fiscal crisis, such lavish expenditure must be curtailed. Migrating birds navigate using celestial calls from the sun and stars, the Earth's magnetic field, and probably also mental maps. With Japanese investors going for new investment destinations, Bangladesh has decided to set up an economic zone exclusively for the entrepreneurs of the world's third largest economic power. In a storm, lightning can strike trees and tall buildings. Exposure to different events forces the brain to think differently. Mithila and Zareen have not spoken to each other for 2 years due to misunderstanding. The only medium of literature is language. An epic is based on heroic deeds performed by a hero. By asking many questions, the instructor tried to elicit information from the students. Both coffee and tea have beneficial as well as malignant side effects. While they stimulate the heart and help overcome fatigue, they also interrupt insomnia and other nervous disorders. Since finishing his MBA studies, Akbar has secured a glorious job as finance manager of an NMC. The inhabitants insisted on repairing the roads across that village. Last week was as hot as this week. One of the professor's greatest attribute is his ability to lecture. Choose the word which fits best within the text below. Among children, 12 years olds have on average only 3 missing decade unfilled teeth. Choose the word which fits best in the space within the text. Finally, on October 12, 1492, Columbus and his men landed on a small island he named San Salvador. He spent a long time looking for a tie which went with his new shirt. Corruption is rife in our society. The integrity of even senior officials is suspect. It is helpful for salesmen to develop a good rapport with their customers in order to gain their trust. Just as disloyalty is the mark of the renegade, cowardice is the mark of the craven. Although the economy suffers downstairs, it also has a strong recuperative and self-correcting tendencies. As titular head of the organization, he attended social functions and meetings, but had no voice in the formulation of company policy. The movie was so hilarious that everyone was bending with laughter. Unable to attend the reunion, Tanjil could enjoy it only in a vicarious fashion. Though the photographs taken there, we find it difficult to translate a foreign text literally because we cannot capture the connotations of the original passage exactly. I took a map with me as I didn't want to lose my way on the journey. He did not want them to think that he did not know exactly where they were going. Because it had not rained for several months, there was a shortage of water. Columbus believed he was in Asia, but he was actually in the Caribbean. I have always regarded you as my best friend. Choose the word which fits best the space in the text. He lied to his man about the distance traveled each day. I have always regarded you as my best friend. Lisa was not consistent in her approach to the situation, at once indiscreet and neglectful. Fill in the blanks. We waited patiently for the storm to slacken, but it shoutily refused to abate. He wants to get a better job and earn more money. We need $200 besides this to pay the bill. My holiday in Paris gave me a great chance to improve my French accent. How did you make out? Junior officers called on me during their last visit on Eid ul-Fitr. She was taken by surprise when her name was announced for the first prize. He has supported the team for over 10 years, though through thick and thin. Heart transplantation is a miracle in medical science. The novels of Humayun Ahmed sells like hotcakes. It is difficult to devise effective functions against computer hacking. The parliament maybe acts delegate certain powers to other bodies or individuals. The measure to impose a total ban on drinking were not successful. There was a profusion of articles and news stories about the famous player. She is very sensitive. Do not speak harshly with her. He is always ready to take great pains to ensure that the guests are comfortable. They mean no respect to anyone in leaving early. Do you think that the obstacles to going far into space are now medical, not technological? Is anybody home? He is a man wicked to the backbone. He acted on his suggestion. The climate of this place is suitable for me. To no one's surprise, Joe didn't have his homework ready. Refrigerating meats slows the spread of bacteria. River erosion has rendered thousands of people homeless. The abundance and diversity of insects in the cumulative effect of an extraordinary low extinction rate. He is much too verbose in his writings. Fame is transitory. Today's rising star is all too soon tomorrow's washed up has been. He wakes up at midnight. Ronnie sprained his ankle and cannot do any sports. First language means the natural language. I always like to get to an appointment in good time. How much of an effect did World War II have on Europe? There is a new software program on the market that is supposed to protect your computer from any virus. The professor was pleased with the remarkable progress of the student. I saw a very good job advertised in the newspaper this week. Without the right software, I am afraid you can't access the particular program. Life is to death as pleasure is to pain. She had a very sharp tongue and could be really sarcastic when she was very angry. He spends all his time avoiding me because he owes me money. Can you please lend us some money until we get paid next week? Who said growing up was fun? The firm has expanded and they want to take on extra staff. I told him time and again not to do it, but he takes no notice. One of the child's teeth is very loose and will soon fall out. The moment the lights went out, there was a sense of panic. Why does the poet use a medieval Bengali language in the poem? She sees a group of teenage girls walking down in the street in animated conversation. We human beings tend to forget how far we have come as a species in a relatively short period of time. She boasted that no other car could run as fast as her car. I left my phone switched on in case my brother called. The rabbit screw it away in fright when it heard the movement in the bushes. Raihana was asked to withdraw from graduate school because she was deemed incapable of completing her research. The fact that space exploration has increased dramatically in the past 30 years indicates that we are very eager to learn all we can about our solar system. Author Edith Wharton truly understood the society in which she had grown up. When well-fitted glasses can correct most sight defects in healthy eyes. Narration, direct and indirect speech. বক্তব্য প্রকাশের ভঙ্গিমায় ন্যারেশন উক্তি নামে পরিচিত। উক্তি হতে পারে প্রত্যক্ষ কিংবা পরোক্ষ। ন্যারেশন দুই প্রকার। ডাইরেক্ট স্পিচ, ইনডাইরেক্ট স্পিচ। ডাইরেক্ট স্পিচ প্রত্যক্ষ উক্তি, অর্থাৎ সাবজেক্ট সরাসরি উক্তি করে। জয় said to Kohli, I will go. ইনডাইরেক্ট স্পিচ বা পরোক্ষ উক্তি, অর্থাৎ সাবজেক্টের হয়ে অন্যকে উক্তি করে। জয় told Kohli that he would go. Direct speech example, he said he reached at 9. Indirect speech, he said that he had reached at 9. Reporting verb, said, reported speech, he reached at 9. Concept, যখন কোনো বক্তার বক্তব্য হুবহু বলা হয় ডাইরেক্ট, যখন কোনো বক্তার বক্তব্য হুবহু বলা হয় ইনডাইরেক্ট। রিপোর্টিং ভার্ব, said, ডিরেক্ট স্পিচের ইনভার্টেড কমার বাহিরের সাবজেক্টের ভার্ব। রিপোর্টেড স্পিচ, ডিরেক্ট স্পিচের ইনভার্টেড কমার ভিতরের সেন্টেন্স। পারসন, ফার্স্ট পারসন চেঞ্জ হবে সাবজেক্ট অনুসারে, সেকেন্ড পারসন চেঞ্জ হবে অবজেক্ট অনুসারে, থার্ড পারসন কখনো চেঞ্জ হবে না। টেন্স ও পারসন পরিবর্তনের নিয়ম। রিপোর্টিং ভার্ব যদি প্রেজেন্ট বা ফিউচার টেন্সে থাকে তবে ইনডাইরেক্ট নারেশন করার সময় রিপোর্টেড স্পিচের চেঞ্জের পরিবর্তন হয় না। কিন্তু রিপোর্টিং ভার্ব যদি পাস্ট টেন্সে থাকে তবে ইনডাইরেক্ট নারেশন করার সময় রিপোর্টেড স্পিচের চেঞ্জ পরিবর্তিত হবে নিম্নভাবে। প্রেজেন্ট ইনডেফিনিট থাকলে পাস্ট ইনডেফিনিট, প্রেজেন্ট কন্টিনিউয়াস থাকলে পাস্ট কন্টিনিউয়াস, প্রেজেন্ট পারফেক্ট থাকলে পাস্ট পারফেক্ট, প্রেজেন্ট পারফেক্ট কন্টিনিউয়াস থাকলে পাস্ট পারফেক্ট কন্টিনিউয়াস হবে। পাস্ট ইনডিফিনিট থাকলে পাস্ট পারফেক্ট, পাস্ট কন্টিনিউয়াস থাকলে পাস্ট পারফেক্ট কন্টিনিউয়াস, পাস্ট পারফেক্ট থাকলে নো চেঞ্জ, পাস্ট পারফেক্ট কন্টিনিউয়াস থাকলে নো চেঞ্জ। ফিউচার টেন্স থাকলে ফিউচার ইন পাস্ট টেন্স হবে। সাধারণত উপরে উল্লেখিত টেন্সগুলো নারেশন করা হয়। পাস্ট পারফেক্ট ও পাস্ট পারফেক্ট কন্টিনিউয়াস থাকলে ইনডাইরেক্ট নারেশন করার সময় অপরিবর্তিত থাকে। পার্সন পরিবর্তনের নিয়ম, উই দ্বারা মানব জাতি বোঝালে ফার্স্ট পার্সন হওয়া সত্ত্বেও ইনডাইরেক্ট স্পিচে এর কোনো পরিবর্তন হয় না। ডাইরেক্ট, দ্য টিচার সেইড উই আর মর্টাল। ইনডাইরেক্ট, দ্য টিচার সেইড দ্যাট উই আর মর্টাল। উই যদি বক্তা ও যাকে উদ্দেশ্য করে বলা হয়েছে উভয়কেই বোঝায় তবে ইনডাইরেক্ট স্পিচের কোনো পরিবর্তন হয় না। হি সেইড টু মি উই শুড ডু আওয়ার ডিউটি। ইনডাইরেক্ট, হি সেইড টু মি দ্যাট উই শুড ডু আওয়ার ডিউটি। কিছু গুরুত্বপূর্ণ শব্দের পরিবর্তন, থ্যাংক ইউ, থ্যাঙ্কস। ইনডাইরেক্ট স্পিচ, ইনডাইরেক্ট হচ্ছে থ্যাংক এবং থ্যাঙ্কড। ডাইরেক্ট স্পিচ, বাই আল্লাহ, বাই গড, বাই মাই লাভ। ইনডাইরেক্ট স্পিচ, সোয়ারিং বাই আল্লাহ, সোয়ারিং বাই গড, সোয়ারিং বাই মাই লাভ। ডাইরেক্ট স্পিচ হচ্ছে স্যার, ইনডাইরেক্ট স্পিচ রেসপেক্টফুলি। ডাইরেক্ট স্পিচ ইয়েস, ইনডাইরেক্ট স্পিচ রিপ্লাইড ইন দ্য অ্যাফার্মেটিভ। ডাইরেক্ট স্পিচ নো, ইনডাইরেক্ট স্পিচ রিপ্লাইড ইন দ্য নেগেটিভ। ডাইরেক্ট স্পিচ ডু, ইনডাইরেক্ট স্পিচ স্ট্রংলি। ডাইরেক্ট স্পিচ হ্যালো, হাই, ইনডাইরেক্ট স্পিচ greeted. He said, I can do the work. B. He said that he could do the work. He said, good morning, Mr. Kamal. Akhil indirect speech kunti. He wished Mr. Kamal good morning. The indirect form of the sentence, Farida said to her mother, I shall go to bed now. A. Farida told her mother that she would go to bed then. Choose the correct indirect speech. She asked me, are you happy in your new job? A. She asked me if I was happy in my new job. The correct indirect form of I said to him, I don't believe you. A. I said I didn't believe him. She said I was studying. Said that she had been studying. He said the earth moves around the sun. He said that the earth moves around the sun. He said thanks my friend. The indirect form is he thanked his friends. He said to me, by God I shall support you. Indirect form is A. He swore by God that he would support me. He said good morning sir. The indirect speech is A. He respectfully wished good morning to the person spoken to. You have all done very badly, remarked the teacher. A. The teacher remarked that they had all done it very badly. They said, we cannot live without air. B. They said that we cannot live without air. By Allah, he replied, I will not leave this house. C. Swearing by Allah, he replied that he would not leave that house. He said to me, do you know John? I said, no. Reporting verb হিসেবে replied, asked, shouted, cried, remarked, uttered, muttered, ইত্যাদি থাকলে এদের কোনো পরিবর্তন হয় না। অপরিবর্তিত থাকে। See, he asked me if I knew John. I replied in the negative that I did not. Help shouted the boy. Indirect. C. The boy shouted for help. Words phrase পরিবর্তনের নিয়ম। কিছু ওয়ার্ডস ফ্রেজ আছে যেগুলো ডিরেক্ট থেকে ইনডাইরেক্ট করার পর পরিবর্তিত হয়। সেগুলোর একটি তালিকা দেওয়া হলো। দিস থাকলে দ্যাট, দিস থাকলে দোজ, হ্যার থাকলে দেয়ার, হ্যান্স থাকলে দেন্স, হিদার থাকলে টিদার, নাও থাকলে দেন, কাম থাকলে গো, অ্যাগো থাকলে বিফোর, দাস থাকলে সো, সো থাকলে দিস ইজ হোয়াই, দিস ডে থাকলে দ্যাট ডে, টু ডে থাকলে দ্যাট ডে, টু নাইট থাকলে দ্যাট নাইট, টুমোরো থাকলে দ্য নেক্সট বা ফলোইং ডে, ইয়েস্টারডে থাকলে দ্য প্রিভিয়াস ডে, লাস্ট নাইট থাকলে দ্য প্রিভিয়াস নাইট, লাস্ট ইয়ার থাকলে দ্য প্রিভিয়াস ইয়ার, গুড মর্নিং থাকলে উইশ গুড মর্নিং, নেক্সট উইক থাকলে দ্য ফলোইং উইক, নেক্সট মান্থ থাকলে দ্য ফলোইং মান্থ, নেক্সট ইয়ার থাকলে দ্য ফলোইং ইয়ার, ইট থাকলে দ্যাট, দ্য ডে আফটার টুমোরো থাকলে ইন 2 days, দ্য ডে বিফোর ইয়েস্টারডে থাকলে ইন 2 days বিফোর। তবে এই পরিবর্তন বিপরীত ক্রমে হবে না। ডাইরেক্ট স্পিচে গো থাকলে ইনডাইরেক্ট স্পিচে কাম হবে না। My father said to me, we are going there tomorrow. বাকি ইনডাইরেক্ট স্পিচ হচ্ছে সি। My father told me that they were going there the next day. Change into active form. I was surprised to see that he had been beaten black and blue. B. It surprised me to see that he had been beaten black and blue. Assertive sentence and narration. Reporting verb সে থাকলে সে পরিবর্তে টেল বসে, তবে অবজেক্ট না থাকলে সে বহাল থাকে, কমা ইনভার্টেড কমা উঠে যায়, কমা এর স্থানে দ্যাট বসে। You said to me you do not do your duty. বাক্যটির ইনডাইরেক্ট স্পিচ হচ্ছে বি। You said to me that I did not do my duty. রিপোর্টেড স্পিচ যদি would that দ্বারা শুরু হয় তাহলে রিপোর্টিং ভার্বটি said এর পরিবর্তে wished হবে এবং that clause এর পরে past perfect tense হবে। He said would that I were rich. A. He wished that he had been rich. Note, তবে যদি if I were you I should I would দ্বারা উপদেশ বোঝায় তাহলে ইনডাইরেক্ট করার সাবজেক্ট প্লাস অ্যাডভাইস প্লাস অবজেক্ট প্লাস টু প্লাস রিপোর্টেড স্পিচের ভার্ব বসে ডিরেক্ট। I said to him if I were you I should wait. Indirect. I advised him to wait. ইন্টারোগেটিভ সেন্টেন্স এন্ড ন্যারেশন এর পরিবর্তে আস্ক, ইনকোয়ার অফ, ডিমান্ড অফ বসে, কমা ও ইনভার্টেড কমা। যদি WH কোশ্চেন ওয়ার্ড না থাকে তাহলে কমা এর স্থানে ইফ বা ওয়েদার বসে। WH কোশ্চেন ওয়ার্ড থাকলে কমা অপরিবর্তিত থাকে। ইনডাইরেক্ট করার পর বাক্যটি অ্যাসার্টিভ হয়ে যায়। Why have you beaten my dog? He said to me. D. He demanded of me why I had beaten his dog. Which one of the following is correct in the speech of the sentence? He said, do you know me? A. He inquired whether I knew him. ইম্পারেটিভ সেন্টেন্স এন্ড ন্যারেশন। রিপোর্টেড স্পিচ এর অর্থ ও ভাব অনুযায়ী সে এর পরিবর্তে অর্ডার, কমান্ড, রিকোয়েস্ট, অ্যাডভাইস, বেগ, আস্ক, টেল ইত্যাদি বসে। কমা ও ইনভার্টেড কমা। হ্যাবোধক বাক্যের ক্ষেত্রে কমা ও ইনভার্টেড কমা উঠিয়ে টু বসে। নাবোধক বাক্যের ক্ষেত্রে কমা ও ইনভার্টেড কমা উঠিয়ে নট টু বসে। বাক্যে প্লিজ থাকলে উঠে যায় বা তার পরিবর্তে কাইন্ডলি এবং স্যারের পরিবর্তে রেসপেক্টফুলি বা উইথ রেসপেক্ট ব্যবহৃত হয়। He said to me wait until I come. বাক্যটির ইনডাইরেক্ট স্পিচ হবে A. He asked me to wait until he came. Let দ্বারা ইম্পারেটিভ সেন্টেন্স শুরু হলে এবং প্রশ্ন বোঝালে সে এর পরিবর্তে প্রপোজ বা সাজেস্ট বসে, কমা ও ইনভার্টেড কমা, কমা এর স্থানে দ্যাট বসে। লেট উঠে সাবজেক্টের পর শুড বসে বাক্যটি অ্যাসার্টিভ হয়ে যায়। He said to me let us go home together. B. He proposed to me that we should go home together. Let দ্বারা প্রস্তাব না বোঝালে সে এর পরিবর্তে প্রপোজ বা সাজেস্ট বসে, কমা ও ইনভার্টেড কমা, কমা এর স্থানে দ্যাট বসে। লেট উঠে সাবজেক্টের পরে মাইট বা মাইট বি অ্যালাউড টু বসে বাক্যটি অ্যাসার্টিভ হয়ে যায়। The boy said let me have a pencil. বাক্যটির ইনডাইরেক্ট স্পিচ হবে B. The boy said that he might have a pencil. অপারেটিভ সেন্টেন্স এন্ড ন্যারেশন। রিপোর্টেড স্পিচ এর অর্থ ও ভাব অনুযায়ী সে এর পরিবর্তে উইশ বা প্রে বসে, কমা ও ইনভার্টেড কমা, কমা এর স্থানে দ্যাট বসে। সাবজেক্ট এর পরে মাইট বসিয়ে বাক্যটিকে অ্যাসার্টিভ করতে হয়। দ্য টিচার সেড টু মি মে ইউ লিভ লং। ইটস ইনডাইরেক্ট ফর্ম অফ দ্য টিচার উইশড দ্যাট আই মাইট লিভ লং। অপারেটিভ সেন্টেন্সে গুড মর্নিং গুড ইভিনিং থাকে সে পরিবর্তে উইশ বসে, গুড বাই গুড নাইট থাকে সে পরিবর্তে বিট বসে। দ্য ম্যান সেড গুড মর্নিং মাই ফ্রেন্ড। বাক্যটির ইনডাইরেক্ট স্পিচ হবে বি। দ্য ম্যান উইশড হিজ ফ্রেন্ডস গুড মর্নিং। এক্সক্লেমেটরি সেন্টেন্স এন্ড ন্যারেশন এর পরিবর্তে আনন্দ বুঝালে এক্সক্লেম ইন অথবা উইথ জয়, ডিলাইট, ওয়ান্ডার, ক্রাই আউট ইন জয় ইত্যাদি বসে। সে পরিবর্তে বিস্ময় বোঝালে ওয়ান্ডার বা এক্সক্লেম ইত্যাদি বসে। দুঃখ বোঝালে এক্সক্লেম উইথ সরো, এক্সক্লেম উইথ গ্রিফ ইত্যাদি বসে। কমা ইনভার্টেড কমা, কমা এর স্থানে দ্যাট বসে। আলাস, আহ এটসেট্রা থাকলে তা বাদ দিয়ে বাক্যটিতে অ্যাসার্টিভ করতে হয়। হোয়াট বা হাউ দিয়ে বাক্য শুরু হলে এদের পরিবর্তে নাউনের পূর্বে গ্রেট এবং অ্যাডজেক্টিভের পূর্বে ভার্ব বসে। আনোয়ার সেড হোয়াট এ ফুল আই অ্যাম। বাক্যটির ইনডাইরেক্ট স্পিচ হবে সি। আনোয়ার এক্সক্লেইম দ্যাট হি ওয়াজ এ গ্রেট ফুল। ভোকেটিভ কেস এর ন্যারেশন। ন্যারেশনে কাউকে সম্বোধন করলে তাকে সম্ভব হলে অবজেক্টে নিয়ে আসা, তাকে বাদ দেওয়া অথবা অ্যাড্রেসিং দিয়ে বাক্য শুরু করা যেতে পারে। কাম ইন মাই ফ্রেন্ড সেড আই। এ নাম্বার অ্যাড্রেসিং হিম অ্যাজ মাই ফ্রেন্ড আই টোল্ড হিম টু গো ইন। আদার্স ন্যারেশনের অন্যান্য রুলস ডিরেক্ট ইনডাইরেক্ট। মাস্টের পরিবর্তে হ্যাড টু বসে। Kobir said I must write a letter. D. Kobir said that he had to write a letter. Must দ্বারা চিরকালীন বাধ্যবাধকতা বোঝালে মাস্টের কোনো পরিবর্তন হয় না। Direct. Father said to his son, you must obey your teachers. Indirect. Father told his son that he must obey his teacher. First person must কোনো ভবিষ্যৎ কাজের বাধ্যবাধকতা বোঝাতে indirect speech would have to তে রূপান্তরিত হয়। Direct. He said we must leave the house if the rent is increased. Indirect. He said that they would have to leave the house if the rent was increased. Direct speech, indirect speech. Present perfect continuous tense এর পরিবর্তে past perfect continuous tense বসে। Change the following sentence into indirect speech. Amin said I have been working since 9 a.m. A. Amin said that he had been working since 9 a.m. Direct speech will shall থাকলে indirect speech would should হয়। Direct speech can may থাকলে indirect speech could might হয়। Direct speech must থাকলে indirect speech had to হয়। Korim said I cannot do it now. সঠিক indirect speech কোনটি? D. Korim said that he could not do it then. ডাইরেক্ট স্পিচে শুড, উড, কুড, মাইট, ইউজ টু, অট টু ইত্যাদি মডাল অক্সিলারি ভার্ব থাকলে ইনডাইরেক্ট স্পিচে এদের কোনো পরিবর্তন হয় না। ডাইরেক্ট আই সেড টু হিম ইউ মাইট গো। ইনডাইরেক্ট আই সেড টু হিম দ্যাট হি মাইট গো। এ তবে মাইট দ্বারা অনুরোধ বুঝালে রিপোর্টিং ভার্ব হিসেবে আস্কড, রিকোয়েস্টেড, স্পিচ উঠিয়ে ইনফিনিটিভ টু প্লাস ভার্ব বাকি অংশ ব্যবহার করতে হয়। ডাইরেক্ট হি সেড টু হার ইউ মাস্ট পোস্ট দ্য লেটার ফর মি। ইনডাইরেক্ট হি আস্কড হার টু পোস্ট দ্য লেটার। দ্য স্ট্রেঞ্জার সেড টু মি কুড ইউ হেল্প মি। দ্য স্ট্রেঞ্জার আস্কড মি ইফ আই কুড হেল্প হিম। Yesterday থাকলে the day before থাকে, tomorrow থাকলে the next day বা the following day বসে। Rumi said that he would go home the following day. এর সঠিক ডিরেক্ট স্পিচ কি হবে? সি। Rumi said I shall go home tomorrow. ডিরেক্ট স্পিচ প্রেজেন্ট ইনডিফিনিট টেন্সের পরিবর্তে ইনডাইরেক্ট স্পিচে পাস্ট ইনডিফিনিট টেন্স বসে। He said I don't believe you. সঠিক ইনডাইরেক্ট স্পিচ কোনটি? ডি। He said that he did not believe me. কমপ্লেক্স বা কম্পাউন্ড সেন্টেন্সের উভয় অংশে স্পিচ পরিবর্তন করতে হয়। When I go home I found I had lost my umbrella. Laila said B. Laila said that when she got home she found that she had lost her umbrella. ডিরেক্ট স্পিচ পাস্ট কন্টিনিউয়াস টেন্সের পরিবর্তে ইনডাইরেক্ট স্পিচে পাস্ট পারফেক্ট কন্টিনিউয়াস টেন্স বসে। He said that he had been writing a letter. Make it direct. Hey, he said I was writing a letter. Direct speech present perfect tense এর পরিবর্তে indirect speech past perfect tense হয়। He said that he had come the previous day. Direct speech past indefinite tense এর পরিবর্তে indirect speech past perfect tense বসে। He said the train reached at 9. B. He said that the train had reached at 9. চিরন্তন সত্য সাধারণ সত্য বোঝালে টেন্সের পরিবর্তন হয় না। দ্য টিচার সেড ম্যান ইজ মর্টাল ইনডাইরেক্ট হবে দ্য টিচার সেড দ্যাট ম্যান ইজ মর্টাল। ডিরেক্ট স্পিচ প্রেজেন্ট কন্টিনিউয়াস টেন্সের পরিবর্তে ইনডাইরেক্ট স্পিচে পাস্ট কন্টিনিউয়াস টেন্স হয়। হি সেড আই এম ওয়ার্কিং সিন্স সানরাইজ মেক ইট ইনডাইরেক্ট স্পিচ। সি হি সেড দ্যাট হি ওয়াজ ওয়ার্কিং সিন্স সানরাইজ সেড এর পরে এম এর বদলে ওয়াজ হবে। Teacher said the earth moves round the sun. I will have a cup of tea. My father said because I'm not hungry. See, my father said that he would have a cup of tea because he wasn't hungry. My father said that he would have a cup of tea because he was not hungry. The teacher said man is mortal. A. The teacher said that man is mortal. Find the correct indirect speech. He said I am well. C. He said that he was well. Change the speech. He said good morning Mr. Kamal. C. He wished Mr. Kamal good morning. She said let me come in. Which of the following is correct indirect form of the speech? D. She requested that she might come in. Rafi said to Romeo go away. Backward indirect speech হবে D. Rafi said Romeo to go away. Choose the correct indirect speech. He said what a beautiful bird. B. He exclaimed that it was a very beautiful bird. Choose the correct indirect speech. She asked me are you happy in your new job. B. She asked me if I was happy in my new job. Select the correct change of speech. What do you want? She asked him. D. She asked him what he wanted. The boy said I shall go to school tomorrow. Change this into indirect speech. D. The boy said that he would go to school the next day. Don't waste time. The teacher said to the student. The indirect form of the speech is B. The teacher advised the students not to waste time. Forbid অর্থ নিষেধ করা তাই not হবে না। She asked me are you happy in your new job. A. She asked me if I was happy in my new job. Change the narration. He remarked 2 and 2 makes 4. C. He remarked that 2 and 2 makes 4. Her half sister told me that she had done the assignment the previous day. She said let me come in. B. She requested that she might come in. He asked me when the next letter would come. C. He said to me when will the next letter come. You had better not leave your room unlocked, said my friend. C. My friends advised me to lock my room. I will have a cup of tea, my father said, because I'm not hungry. B. My father said that he would have a cup of tea because he was not hungry. Anis said I must write a letter. C. Anis said that he had to write a letter. How dare you wake me up? The lion roared at the mouse. Choose the correct narration. B. The lion roared and asked the mouse how it dared to wake him up. The teacher said to me, may you pass the examination. Its indirect form is C. The teacher wished that I might pass the examination. May might হবে। Abid said to me I was ill. B. Abid told me that he had been ill. Arif told us that he had waited an hour. Backward indirect speech হবে A. Arif said to us I waited an hour. He said good morning Mr. Kamal. Change the speech. A. He wished Mr. Kamal good morning. Choose the correct sentence. B. He asked if we had taken our food. Choose the correct sentence. C. The old car doesn't need fixing. He asked me when the next letter would come. Back indirect speech হচ্ছে C. He said to me when will the next letter come. Report the following in indirect speech. He said to me how did you do it. A. He inquired of me how I had done it. He said to me how do you like music. The indirect form of this is he asked me if I liked music. He said to me what do you want. D. He asked me what I wanted. Arif told us that he had waited an hour. Backward indirect speech হবে A. Arif said to us I waited an hour. Are you weeping? He asked her. Backward indirect speech হবে B. He asked her if he was weeping. Change the narration. I said do it. D. I ordered to do it. Anwar said let him say whatever he likes. Backward indirect speech হবে B. Anwar said that he might say whatever he liked. He said how charming the sight is. B. He exclaimed that the sight was very charming. The manager said to the strikers, resume your work. Backward indirect speech হবে B. The manager ordered the strikers to resume their work. Kobir said, which book do you want? D. He asked me which book I wanted. The boy said, let me have a pen. Backward indirect speech হবে A. The boy said that he might have a pen. He asked me when the next letter would come. Backward indirect speech হবে B. He said to me when will the next letter come. Asked এর বদলে said to plus ব্যক্তি হবে when plus auxiliary verb হবে। Rohim called me a coward. Backward indirect speech হবে B. Rohim told me you are a coward. The poor man said let me have some food. Backward indirect speech হবে D. The poor man begged that he might have some food. You have all done very badly. Remarked the teacher. Backward indirect speech হবে A. The teacher remarked that they had all done it very badly. Nasima said what a fine picture it is. The indirect speech হচ্ছে B. Nasima exclaimed that it was a very fine picture. Choose the correct indirect speech. She asked me where were you. C. She asked me where I had been. The teacher said I shall not teach him English. Indirect speech হচ্ছে D. The teacher said that he would not teach him English. He said what a pity. Backward indirect speech হবে B. He exclaimed that it was a great pity. He said I am well. Backward indirect speech হবে C. He said that he was well. Amin said I shall go to school. Backward indirect speech হবে B. Amin said that he would go to school. Amin said that he would go to school. Nafi said to Romel go away. Backward indirect speech হবে A. Nafi requested Romel to go away. Roni said the train reached at 9. Backward indirect speech হবে B. Roni said that the train had reached at 9. You said to me would you help me please. Backward indirect speech হবে D. You politely asked me if I would help you. Run away children, said their mother. বাক্যটির ইনডাইরেক্ট স্পিচ হবে D. Addressing the children, their mother asked them to run away. Rofik said to me I was ill. বাক্যটির ইনডাইরেক্ট স্পিচ হবে B. Rofik told me that he had been ill. He said, tell me boy, is the miller within? বাক্যটির ইনডাইরেক্ট স্পিচ হবে A. Addressing the boy, he asked him to tell him if the miller was within. I said to him, will you follow me? B. I asked him if he would follow me. The indirect speech of Jania said I read all sorts of magazines is B. Jinia said that she reads all sorts of magazines. The mother said to her son, may you pass the examination? বাক্যটির indirect speech হবে C. The mother wished that her son might pass the examination. You said to me you don't do your duty. D. You told me that I did not do my duty. Come in, my friend, said I. বাক্যটির indirect speech হবে কি A. Addressing him as my friend, I told him to go in. Anika exclaimed that she was a grateful. বাক্যটির indirect speech হচ্ছে B. Anika said, what a fool I am. Rofik called me a liar. বাক্যটির indirect speech হচ্ছে D. Rofik said to me, you are a liar. He said to me, may Allah bless you. D. He prayed that Allah might bless him. Select the best form of narration. He told, do the work. B. He asked to do the work. The teacher said, the earth moves around the sun. Make it indirect speech. B. The teacher said that the earth moves around the sun. He said, I came home yesterday, which is the indirect speech of it. D. He said that he had come home the previous day. He inquired whether his name was not Ahmed. Locate the correct direct narration. D. He said to him, is not your name Ahmed? Said to him, inquired, asked, oh, ব্যবহার করা যায়. He said to me, what are you doing? Find the correct indirect narration. D. He asked me what I was doing. I said, angrily, leave me alone. Find out the correct indirect narration. C. I told angrily to leave me alone. He said that we are all sinners. Change into direct speech. See, he said we are all sinners. We are all sinners. কথাটি হলো চিরন্তন সত্য. Which one of the following is the correct sentence? Did থাকায় past would হবে B. I did not know that he would come here. The indirect form of the sentence, Juhan said to Zara, are you going to Dhaka tomorrow? D. Juhan asked Zara if she was going to Dhaka the next day. Are you থাকায় উত্তরে if she was হবে. Munna said to Juhan, I shall come to you tomorrow. Its indirect form is B. Munna told Juhan that he would go to him the following day. He said to me, regular exercise is good for health. Make it indirect speech. A. He told me that regular exercise is good for health. He said, I have been working since sunrise. Make it indirect speech. C. He said that he had been working since sunrise. He requested that he might be allowed to come in. Which of the following is the correct direct speech? D. He said, may I come in? কোনটি সঠিক বাক্য? C. He asked me if I had passed. সঠিক বাক্য. Put the following sentence into direct speech. Why are you getting wet in the rain? I said. C. I asked why he was getting wet in the rain. He said to me, how long will you stay here? The indirect form of the sentence is C. He asked me how long I would stay there. Here থাকবে there এবং how long থাকবে asked plus how long plus subject হবে. The man said the officer, please help me. বাক্যটির indirect form হবে B. The man requested the officer to help him. Which one is the correct form of the indirect sentence? The boy said, let me do it. The boy said that he might be allowed to do it. The teacher said to me, may you pass the examination. Its indirect form is C. The teacher wished that I might pass the examination. He said, friends, goodbye. Its indirect form is A. He bade his friends goodbye. He said, thanks, my friends. The indirect form is C. He thanked his friends. Choose the direct speech of the sentence. She told us to hurry up. B. She said to us, hurry up. Which one is the correct narration? He told, do the work. B. He asked to do the work. He addressed Mr. Rahman and wished him good morning. বাক্যটির indirect speech হবে B. He said, good morning, Mr. Rahman. What is the indirect speech of the man said, good morning, my friends? B. The man wished his friends good morning. She said, let me come in. Which of the following is correct of the indirect form of this speech? D. She requested that she might come in. Nasima said, what a fine picture it is. B. Nasima exclaimed that it was a very fine picture. Record the following in indirect speech. He said to me, how did you do it? A. He inquired of me how I had done it. Abul said, I was busy. বাক্যটির indirect speech হবে D. Abul said that he had been busy. Change into indirect speech. Are you alone, my son? Asked a soft voice close behind me. D. Addressing me as his son, a soft voice asked if I was. Which of the following sentence is correct? D. None of this is correct. The indirect form of the sentence, he said, I had an accident yesterday. D. He said that he had made an accident on the previous day. The indirect form of the sentence, Farida said to her mother, I shall go to bed now. See, Farida told her mother that she would go to bed then. The indirect form of the sentence, she said, it must be pretty late. I really must go. Should be B. She said it must be pretty late and she really must go. We asked him why he had not telephoned earlier. The teacher said to the pupil, stand up. Turn into indirect speech. B. The teacher ordered his pupil to stand up. I said to him, is he a doctor? Turn into indirect speech. C. I asked him whether he was a doctor. I said to him, is he a doctor? Turn into indirect speech. C. I said to him whether he was a doctor. Do you want any work here today? Said the man. See, the man inquired if he wanted any work there that day. The prisoner strongly desired that he had the wings of a dove. B. The prisoner said, had I the wings of a dove? The indirect form of the sentence, my father said to me, do not waste your time, is C. My father forbade me to waste my time. He said, may you be happy. He wished that I might be happy. He said to me, did you take the examination? D. He asked me if I had taken the examination. Mo said to me, you cannot do it thus now. D. Mo told me that I could not do it thus then. Choose the correct sentence. C. He told me to hold my tongue. My mother forbade me. A. To keep association with bad boys. He said I could do it tomorrow. D. He said that he could do it the next day. What is the indirect speech of must you leave now? He asked me. C. He asked me if I had to leave then. Choose the indirect form. Could I help you, sir? Said the receptionist to the customer. C. The receptionist asked the customer if she could help him or her. Which is correct sentence? B. The captain ordered his soldiers to march on. Korim says that he did not go. The direct form of the sentence is C. Korim says I did not go. He said, alas, I am undone. Find out the correct indirect speech of the sentence. A. He exclaimed with sorrow that he was undone. The indirect form of the man said to him, Fie, you are such a coward. The man exclaimed that it was shameful that he was such a coward. Come here, choose the correct indirect speech. D. He told me to go there. Direct form of he said with joy that it was a very nice thing. B. He said, what a nice thing it is. The correct sentence is B. I asked Shopper if he had passed. Halima C. told her professors that she should not attend classes next week. Which of the following is the correct direct form of the sentence? Columbus wanted to know whether any of them could make an egg stand on end. C. Columbus said to them, can any of you make an egg stand on end? Correct indirect speech of the teacher said to me, you are wrong. A. The teacher told me that I was wrong. ট্যাগ কোশ্চেন সাধারণত কথোপকথনের সময় নিশ্চিত হওয়ার লক্ষ্যে বাক্যের শেষে বক্তা যে সম্পূরক জিজ্ঞাসা প্রশ্ন যুক্ত করেন তাকে ট্যাগ কোশ্চেন বলে। ট্যাগ কোশ্চেন সম্মিলিত বাক্যের দুটি অংশ থাকে। দ্য গার্ল ব্রোক দ্য গ্লাস মূল বাক্য ডিডন্ট শি ট্যাগ কোশ্চেন বেসিক কনসেপ্ট এট এ গ্লান্স রুল। ট্যাগ কোশ্চেনের সময় অ্যাফার্মেটিভ বা হ্যাঁ বোধক বাক্যে নেগেটিভ ট্যাগ ব্যবহৃত হয়, আবার নেগেটিভ বা না বোধক বাক্যে অ্যাফার্মেটিভ ট্যাগ ব্যবহৃত হয়। এছাড়া বাক্যের শেষে কমা দিয়ে ট্যাগ কোশ্চেনটি আলাদা করা হয়। ট্যাগ কোশ্চেনের শেষে প্রশ্ন বোধক চিহ্ন থাকে। এক্সাম্পল, শিরিন ডাজ নট লাইক কফি। ডাজ শি? শিরিন কফি পছন্দ করে না। করে কি? শিরিন লাইকস কফি। ডাজন্ট শি? শিরিন কফি পছন্দ করে। তাই নয় কি? হ্যাঁ বোধক বাক্যে না বোধক ট্যাগ, না বোধক বাক্যে হ্যাঁ বোধক ট্যাগ। নেগেটিভ ট্যাগে অক্সিলিয়ারি ভার্বগুলো সংক্ষিপ্ত রূপ ব্যবহৃত হয়, যেমন am plus not, ain't অথবা aren't। সেগুলো লাগবে না। চুজ দ্য অ্যাপ্রোপ্রিয়েট ট্যাগ। হি ক্যান গো টু ইউনিভার্সিটি বাই বাস। সি কান্ট হি? চুজ দ্য কারেক্ট ট্যাগ কোশ্চেন। I ought to complain, oughtn't I? I am going to be invited to. Am not I? He has a cold bath every morning. Doesn't he? Cold bath every morning. Doesn't he? The expression a stone's throw means very near. She has been there before. A. Hasn't she? She has been there before. Hasn't she? Choose the correct question of Kamal talks as if he knows everything. See, Kamal talks as if he knows everything. Doesn't he? I need some books. A. Don't I? Kaiser Hawk writes in English. B. Doesn't he? You will remember to call me. See, won't you? The universities have opened recently, haven't they? They have tried but failed. A. Haven't they? The team is disqualified. A. Isn't it? He is trying to give up smoking. A. Isn't he? You are taking the admission test. C. Aren't you? She could have been more discreet. Couldn't she? Add a question tag. You, Hamid, and I will go. B. Won't we? His parents are old. B. Aren't they? You haven't done your homework. A. Have you? You won't tell him my secret. D. Will you? We have just answered your question. Haven't we? You should have done this. A. Shouldn't you? You've got a book. D. Haven't you? There are only 28 days in February. C. Aren't there? He is the man of the match. C. Isn't he? Bangla is my mother tongue. A. Isn't it? Bangladesh is our motherland. B. Isn't she? C. Isn't it? I am just hopeless at telling jokes. A. Aren't I? They have tried but failed. A. Haven't they? He can go to the college by bus. Can't he? We didn't play very well today. A. Did we? অনেক সময় ট্যাগ কোশ্চেন করার সময় মূল বাক্যের সাবজেক্ট পরিবর্তন হয়ে ট্যাগ অংশে অন্য প্রণয়ন বসে। বস্তুবাচক প্রাণীবাচক সিঙ্গুলার। ইট। দ্য বুক ইজ এক্সেলেন্ট। ইজন্ট ইট? মূল বাক্যের সাবজেক্টের বুকের পরিবর্তে ব্যবহৃত হয়েছে। দ্য বুকস আর ওল্ড। আরন্ট দে? Milk is white, isn't it? The baby is crying, isn't it? Honesty is a great virtue, isn't it? Bangladesh is a developing country, isn't she? Isn't it? Allah is almighty, isn't he? H capital. All of them support dinner, don't they? Everybody came there, didn't they? Nothing is impossible, is it? Or is anything? Something is on the table, isn't it? What a nice book it is, isn't it? It is your new job, isn't it? There are many books on the table, aren't there? রুলস। বাক্যে সাহায্যকারী ভার্ব এবং মডাল অক্সিলারি ভার্ব দেওয়া না থাকলে বাক্যটিতে প্রেজেন্ট টেন্স হলে ডু, ডাজ এবং পাস্ট টেন্স হলে ডিড বসাতে হয়। শি অফেন ভিজিটস হার হোম টাউন। ডাজন্ট শি? ভার্বের সাথে অ্যাজ বাই এস যুক্ত থেকে অনেকেই ডাজ বসাতে চায়, কিন্তু সবসময় হয় না। যেহেতু এভরিবডির পরিবর্তে দে বসে এবং দের পরে ডু বসে, তাই অ্যাজ বাই এস যুক্ত থাকার পরেও ডাজ হলো না। এভরিওয়ান লাইকস দ্য প্রোগ্রাম। ডোন্ট ওয়ার্ড বাক্যে থাকলে অ্যান্টি যুক্ত করতে হয় না, পজিটিভ ট্যাগ হয়। এইগুলা নো বডি, নন, নো ওয়ান, নিদার, নো, হার্ডলি, ফিউ, লিটল, স্কার্টসলি, সেলডম, বেয়ারলি, নেভার, ডোন্ট, নাথিং, নট ইত্যাদি হয়। হি নেভার গোজ আউট উইথ হিজ ডগ। ডাজ হি? আমরা জানি ম্যান শব্দটি সিঙ্গুলার, কিন্তু ম্যান দ্বারা যদি সমগ্র বাংলাদেশকে বোঝায় তাহলে শেষে দে বসে। ম্যান ইজ মডাল। আরন্ট দে? অনেক সময় সেন্টেন্সে সাবজেক্টের পরে ভার্ব সংক্ষিপ্ত আকারে থাকে, সেক্ষেত্রে সংক্ষিপ্ত অংশটি দেখে ট্যাগ কোশ্চেন করতে হয়। আই উড মিট ইউ। উডন্ট they would gone to চিটাগং। hadn't they? need এবং needed যদি কোনো অ্যাসার্টিভ সেন্টেন্সে মূল ভার্ব হিসেবে ব্যবহৃত হয় তাহলে তাদের ট্যাগ কোশ্চেন করতে টেন্স অনুযায়ী ডু, ডাজ, ডিড ব্যবহার করতে হয়। I need your help, don't I? নিড যদি সেন্টেন্স অক্সিলারি ভার্ব হিসেবে ব্যবহৃত হয় তাহলে ট্যাগ কোশ্চেন করতে নিড ই ব্যবহৃত হয়। এক্সাম্পল, ইউ নিড নট গো দেয়ার, নিড ইউ। কোন সেন্টেন্সে হ্যাভ, হ্যাজ, হ্যাড যদি মূল ভার্ব হিসেবে ব্যবহৃত হয় তাহলে ট্যাগ কোশ্চেন করার সময় এগুলোই অথবা ডু, ডাজ, ডিড উভয় ব্যবহার হতে পারে। শি হ্যাড এ প্যান, hadn't she had a pen, didn't she used to do, আগে করতে ট্যাগ কোশ্চেন হলো didn't, he used to do it, didn't he। কিছু কিছু ভার্ব আছে যাদের প্রেজেন্ট পাস্ট ও পাস্ট পার্টিসিপল এরকম একই, পুট কাট হার্ট হার্ট, রিড হিট শাট কাস্ট স্প্রিট স্লিট। I cut the wood, don't I, didn't I, এখানে দুটি বসানো যাবে যেহেতু কাটের প্রেজেন্ট পাস্ট একই। she put her hand to my hand, didn't she, এখানে পুট না থাকে পুটস থাকলে doesn't she হতো, মনে রাখতে হবে। হি, শি, ইট এবং সিঙ্গুলার নাম ছাড়া অন্য সাবজেক্ট থাকলে ডু এবং ডিড উভয়ই বসানো যায়। বাক্যের প্রোনাউন এর অ্যান্টেসেডেন্ট ব্যবহৃত হলে অ্যান্টেসেডেন্টটি যে প্রোনাউনকে নির্দেশ করে সেই প্রোনাউন অনুসারে ট্যাগ কোশ্চেন করতে হয়। ইট ইজ ম্যান হু পলিউটস দ্য এনভায়রনমেন্ট, ইজন্ট হি, এর সাবজেক্ট হচ্ছে ম্যান তাই হি বসানো হয়েছে। ইট ইজ হেলথ হুইচ ইজ ওয়েলথ, ইজন্ট ইট, এখানে সাবজেক্ট হচ্ছে হেলথ তাই বসানো হয়েছে। ইট ইজ আই হু অ্যাম এ পুয়ার বয়, আরন্ট আই। ইফ যুক্ত বাক্যের দ্বিতীয় অংশ থেকে ট্যাগ কোশ্চেন বসাতে হয়। ইফ ইউ স্টাডি ওয়েল ইউ উইল ডু বেটার, ওন্ট ইউ। ইফ দে কেম আই উড গো, উডন্ট আই। এক্সক্লেমেটরি বাক্যে যখন সাহায্যকারী ভার্ব দেওয়া থাকে না সেখানে ইজ ধরে নিতে হয় এবং এই সমস্ত বাক্যে সাহায্যকারী ভার্বের পরে ইট ধরে নিতে হয়। হাউ ওল্ড, ইজন্ট ইট, হোয়াট এ স্ট্রেঞ্জ, ইজন্ট ইট। ট্যাগ কোশ্চেন করার সময় যে জিনিসটি বেশি খেয়াল রাখতে হবে তা হলো বাক্যটি একটি না দুটি সেন্টেন্স দেওয়া আছে, একটি না থাকবে স্বাভাবিকভাবে আর দুটি বাক্য থাকবে প্রথম বাক্যে নয় বরং দ্বিতীয় বাক্যের ট্যাগ নেগেটিভ হবে। রাফিজ ইজ রিডিং এ বুক, হি উইল গো টু কলেজ, ওন্ট হি। এখানে দ্বিতীয় বাক্য অনুযায়ী সাহায্যকারী ভার্ব উইল ট্যাগ নেগেটিভ ফর্মে ওন্ট বসানো হয়েছে। পজিটিভ স্টেটমেন্ট বা বাক্যের ক্ষেত্রে ট্যাগ করার নিয়ম, যদি মূল ভার্ব দিয়ে শুরু হয় লেট প্লাস পার্সোনাল অবজেক্ট দিয়ে শুরু হয় তাহলে উইল ব্যবহার হবে। যদি লেট আস অথবা লেটস দিয়ে শুরু হয় তাহলে শ্যালই হবে। লেট দ্বারা যদি সম্মতি আহ্বান করা হয় তাহলে উইল ইউ হবে। আর যদি ইম্পারেটিভ সেন্টেন্স দ্বারা যদি কিছু করতে বলা হয় তাহলে উইল ইউ, ওন্ট ইউ, শ্যাল ইউ ইত্যাদি বুঝতে পারে। লেট আস গো ফর এ ওয়াক, উইল ইউ। The fan is not working, is it? She won't dance in the party. A. Will she? Choose the appropriate tag. Don't make a noise. D. Will you? Everybody likes a flower. D. Don't they? Let's go out tonight. A. Shall we? Let me do the work. C. Will you? Everyone should respect the teachers. Shouldn't they? You often watch television, don't you? An apple tastes sweet when it is ripe, doesn't it? It seems strange. B. Doesn't it really? She could have been more discreet. D. Couldn't she? The girl broke the cup. B. Didn't she? Banks close at 4 p.m. C. Don't they? Which one is the proper tag question in? He always lags behind. D. Doesn't he? The tag for the blank in you forgot my birthday. B. Didn't you? Everybody loves flower. A. Don't they? He does not smoke. A. Does he? Morning entertains us with fresh air. B. Doesn't it? Give me the history book to read. C. Will you? You always wake up early. A. Didn't you? We have another cartoon of milk. Haven't we? Or don't we? Don't forget. Will you? Please tell me how to plant trees. Won't you? Let's go home. See, shall we? They agreed with us. D. Didn't they? We saw him as the most wonderful man. B. Didn't we? ইনভার্সন শব্দটি ইনভার্স থেকে এসেছে যার অর্থ উল্টে দেওয়া। ইনভার্সন মানে হলো উল্টানো। কিছু নেগেটিভ অ্যাডভার্ব যদি সেন্টেন্সের শুরুতে বসে তবে সেন্টেন্সের মিনিং চেঞ্জ হয়ে যায়। সেন্টেন্সের মিনিং এ অ্যাডভার্বগুলোর উপর জোর দেওয়ার কারণে নেগেটিভ হয়ে যায়। নিম্নের নেগেটিভ অ্যাডভার্বগুলো সেন্টেন্সের শুরুতে ব্যবহৃত হলে অক্সিলারি ভার্ব সাবজেক্টের পূর্বে ব্যবহৃত হয়। হার্ডলি, বেয়ারলি, রেয়ারলি, স্কার্সলি, সেলডম, নট ওয়ান্স, নট অনলি, নট আনটিল, নেভার, নো সুনার, নাইদার, নো টাইম। Rarely are you found in the classroom. Scarcely does he attend classes on time. Never again will they stay in the hotel. Only plus preposition plus noun phrase, এগুলো কোনো apply. Only after went home did I remember my doctor's appointment. Only rarely has an accident occurred. Under no circumstances should you leave your language unattained. So quickly did he run that he reached home on time. Inversion করতে হয় সবসময় principal clause. Only after I went home did I remember my doctor's appointment. Only by chance did I discover that she had been stealing from us. Never has he committed such a heinous crime. Only after entering the store did Babul realize that there was danger. Not until the Triassic period did the first primitive mammals develop. Not many of my friends knew I was leaving. Never have so many women received law degrees as today. Only after graduating from public university did he do PhD. So profitable was her investment that Maureen was able to retire early. No sooner had the teacher entered the class than the student stood up. THAN. Only if the law is changed will proper leveling be essential. Hardly had he entered the office when he realized that he had forgotten his wallet. Choose the correct tense. Scarcely had we started when it began to rain. Only after entering the bank did Kamal realize that there was danger. Not only the atmosphere gives us air to breathe, but also it filters our harmful sun rays. Never before have so many people been out of work as today. Not until a student has mastered algebra can he begin to understand the principle of geometry, trigonometry and physics. Only after watering the saplings could Meena have a magnificent garden. which will complete the sentence correctly. So quickly did he run that he reached on time. Rarely will you see anyone using typewriters nowadays. Seldom do we have good return to us because they are faulty. Only after entering the store did Arthur realize that there was a danger. Complete the sentence. Only after food has been dried or canned should it be stored for later consumption. Never have so many students received MBA degrees as today. Not only are whales among the largest animals that ever lived, but they are also among the most intelligent. Not until a monkey is several years old does it begin to exhibit signs of independence from its mother. অ্যাফার্মেটিভ এন্ড নেগেটিভ এগ্রিমেন্ট ডিসকাশন এন্ড দ্বারা যুক্ত দুটি সেন্টেন্সের ক্ষেত্রে যদি দ্বিতীয় সেন্টেন্সটি প্রথম সেন্টেন্সের সাথে এগ্রি করে তাকে এগ্রিমেন্ট বলে। এগ্রিমেন্ট পজিটিভ এবং নেগেটিভ উভয়ই হতে পারে। এগ্রিমেন্টের ক্ষেত্রে প্রথম সেন্টেন্সটি অ্যাফার্মেটিভ হলেও পরেরটি অ্যাফার্মেটিভ হবে, আর প্রথমটি নেগেটিভ হলে দ্বিতীয় সেন্টেন্সটিও নেগেটিভ হবে। অ্যাফার্মেটিভ এগ্রিমেন্টের ক্ষেত্রে দ্বিতীয় সেন্টেন্সটি পুরো না লিখে নিম্নলিখিত স্ট্রাকচারে সংক্ষেপে লেখা যায়। Ronnie likes coffee and Tanvir does also. অথবা Ronnie likes coffee and Tanvir does too. Ronnie likes coffee and so does Tanvir. মনে রাখতে হবে যে so, to এবং also এর অর্থ একই, যার অর্থ হচ্ছে আরো। to এবং also ব্যবহৃত হয় auxiliary verb এর পরে, so ব্যবহৃত auxiliary verb এর আগে। My wife is happy and so am I. My wife is happy and I am too. My wife is happy and I am also. You like chocolate and so do I. You like chocolate and I do too. You like chocolate and I do also. She took pictures and so did I. She took pictures and I did too. She took pictures and I did also. Parvez has finished his work and so have I. Parvez has finished his work and I have too. Parvez has finished his work and I have also. Sharmin will wear a costume to the party and so will I. Sharmin will wear a costume to the party and I will too. Sharmin will wear a costume to the party and I will also. You are going to the concert and so are they. We are going to the concert and they are too. We are going to the concert and they are also. Shakespeare was a famous playwright and so was Marlowe. Shakespeare was a famous playwright and Marlowe was too. Shakespeare was a famous playwright and Marlowe was also. Ronnie didn't like coffee and Tanvir didn't either. Ronnie didn't like coffee and neither did Tanvir. Either ও neither অর্থগত দিক থেকে কাছাকাছি হলেও তাদের ব্যবহারের মূল পার্থক্য হলো either auxiliary verb এবং not এর পরে ব্যবহৃত হয়, neither auxiliary verb এর আগে ব্যবহৃত হয়, neither কখনোই নেগেটিভ ওয়ার্ডের সাথে সেই ক্লোজে বসতে পারে না। Most students don't like homework and neither do I. Most students don't like homework and I don't either. Most foreign students don't like American coffee and neither do I. Most foreign students don't like American coffee and I don't either. He did not remember and neither did I. He did not remember and I didn't either. She can't drive and neither can her husband, or she can drive and her husband can't either. John hasn't seen the new movie yet and neither have I. John hasn't seen the new movie yet and I haven't either. She won't going to the conference and neither will her colleagues. Or she won't going to the conference and her colleagues won't either. My friend doesn't like terrorism and neither do I. My friend doesn't like terrorism and I don't like either. He didn't know the answer and neither did I. He didn't know the answer and I didn't either. Times have changed and so have I. Times have changed and so have we. Peter can't go and I can't either. My friend doesn't like fish and neither do I. You like chocolate and so do I. My half-brother visited Cox's Bazaar a couple of weeks ago and so did I. I can remember all their names and so can my sister. You don't like coffee and neither do I. You can't ride a bike and neither can I. He didn't know the answer and neither did she. Rana can't type well and her sister can't either. He is hard working and so am I. My friend does not like sweets, neither do I. One ought to cooperate with one's neighbors when they are in trouble and so do they. Pioneer man and woman endured terrible hardship and so did their children. She can't drive and neither can her husband. He is hard working and so am I. He didn't pay the fees. The correct response is neither did I. Neera went home, so did I. My friend believes that research is a group effort and so do I. He did not remember and neither did I. Modifiers definition নাউনের পূর্বে অথবা পরে বসে নাউনকে মডিফাই করে এমন ওয়ার্ড বা ফ্রেজকে মডিফায়ার বলা হয়। এক্সাম্পল, she is a pious woman. The girl reading in classroom is very studious. সাধারণত অ্যাডজেক্টিভ ডিটারমিনার্স এবং নাউন অ্যাডজেক্টিভগুলো মডিফায়ার হিসেবে কাজ করে। বিশেষায়িত করার অবস্থানের উপর ভিত্তি করে মডিফায়ারকে দুই ভাগে ভাগ করা যায়, প্রি মডিফায়ার, পোস্ট মডিফায়ার। প্রি মডিফায়ার যে মডিফায়ার নাউন বা নাউন ফ্রেজের পূর্বে বসে তাকে মডিফাই করে তাকে প্রি মডিফায়ার বলে। এক্সাম্পল, the down train will leave now. কয়েক ধরনের প্রি মডিফায়ার রয়েছে। নাউন হ্যাজ প্রি মডিফায়ার, যখন দুটি নাউন পাশাপাশি বসে এবং প্রথম নাউনটি দ্বিতীয় নাউনটিকে মডিফাই করে তখন প্রথম নাউনটিকে দ্বিতীয় নাউনের প্রি মডিফায়ার বলা হয়। এক্সাম্পল, এ ট্রেন জার্নি ইজ প্লিজেন্ট। অ্যাডজেক্টিভ অ্যাজ প্রি মডিফায়ার, অ্যাডজেক্টিভ যখন নাউন বা নন ফ্রেজের পূর্বে বসে তাকে মডিফাই করে তখন তাকে অ্যাডজেক্টিভ অ্যাজ প্রি মডিফায়ার বলে। এক্সাম্পল, আওয়ার কান্ট্রি নিডস মেনি স্কিলড ওয়ার্কার্স। পার্টিসিপল অ্যাজ প্রি মডিফায়ার্স, যখন কোনো পার্টিসিপল নাউন বা নাউন ফ্রেজের পূর্বে বসে মডিফাই করে তখন তাকে পার্টিসিপল অ্যাজ প্রি মডিফায়ার বলে। এক্সাম্পল, ডোন্ট গেট ডাউন ফ্রম এ রানিং ট্রেন। অ্যাডভার্ব অ্যাজ প্রি মডিফায়ার, যখন কোনো অ্যাডভার্ব নাউন বা নাউন ফ্রেজের পূর্বে বসে মডিফাই করে তখন তাকে অ্যাডভার্ব অ্যাজ প্রি মডিফায়ার বলে। এক্সাম্পল, the above sentence is difficult to understand. possessive as pre-modifier, pronoun and possessive, my, our, your, their, her, his, its ফর্মগুলো যখন নাউন বা নাউন ফ্রেজের পূর্বে বসে মডিফাই করে তখন তাকে possessive as pre-modifier বলে। এক্সাম্পল, Hyder's shirts is very expensive. পোস্ট মডিফায়ার, যে মডিফায়ার নাউন নাউন ফ্রেজের পরে বসে তাকে মডিফাই করে তাকে পোস্ট মডিফায়ার বলে। এক্সাম্পল, উই মেড অ্যান অ্যাটেম্প্ট টু এসকেপ পানিশমেন্ট, এখানে টু এসকেপ হচ্ছে পোস্ট মডিফায়ার। কয়েক ধরনের পোস্ট মডিফায়ার, অ্যাডজেক্টিভ অ্যাজ পোস্ট মডিফায়ার, অ্যাডজেক্টিভ যখন কোনো নাউন প্রোনাউন সামথিং এভরিথিং এভরিওয়ান এনিওয়ান সেটার পরে বসে তাকে মডিফাই করে তখন তাকে অ্যাডজেক্টিভ অ্যাজ পোস্ট মডিফায়ার বলে। এক্সাম্পল, there is something abnormal in his behavior, adverb as post modifier, adverb যদি কোনো নাউনের পরে বসে তাকে মডিফাই করে তাহলে তাকে adverb as post modifier বলে। Example, the girl behind is his father. A prepositional phrase as post modifier. Prepositional phrase যখন relative clause, subordinate adjective clause হিসেবে ব্যবহৃত হয়ে নাউন বা প্রোনাউনের পরে বসে মডিফাই করে তখন তাকে prepositional phrase as post modifier বলে। The fish on the pan is very fresh. On the pan এখানে prepositional phrase as post modifier. Infinitive phrase as post modifier. Infinitive যখন কোনো নাউন প্রোনাউনের পরে বসে তাকে মডিফাই করে তখন তাকে infinitive phrase as post modifier বলে। Example, his decision to study abroad was appreciated. To study abroad was appreciated. এখানে infinitive phrase as post modifier. পার্টিসিপল অ্যাজ পোস্ট মডিফায়ার, পার্টিসিপল যখন নাউন প্রোনাউনের পরে বসে মডিফাই করে তখন তাকে পার্টিসিপল অ্যাজ পোস্ট মডিফায়ার বলে। এক্সাম্পল, আই স হিম রিডিং, দ্য মেল সাইন্ড বাই দ্য মিনিস্টার ওয়াজ সেন্ট। ড্যাংলিং অ্যান্ড মিসপ্লেসড মডিফায়ার্স, ডিসকাশন, কোনো মডিফায়ার যখন তার কাঙ্ক্ষিত পার্টস অফ স্পিচটিকে বিশেষায়িত না করে অন্য পার্টস অফ স্পিচকে বিশেষায়িত করে তখন তাকে ড্যাংলিং মডিফায়ার বলে। অন্যদিকে কোনো মডিফায়ার যদি যথাস্থানে না বসে অন্যত্র বসে তবে তাকে মিসপ্লেসড মডিফায়ার বলে। সেন্টেন্সে ব্যবহৃত মডিফায়ারটি সঠিকভাবে নাউন প্রোনাউনকে মডিফাই করছে কিনা তা একটি গুরুত্বপূর্ণ বিষয়, অন্যথায় সেন্টেন্সটির অর্থ বিভ্রাট ঘটে এবং সেন্টেন্সটি ভুল হয়। রুল, প্রেজেন্ট পার্টিসিপল যুক্ত সেন্টেন্স এর মূল কর্ম যে ব্যক্তি বা যে বস্তু দ্বারা সংগঠিত হয় সে ব্যক্তি বা বস্তুই ওই সেন্টেন্সের দ্বিতীয় অংশের সাবজেক্ট হবে, নতুবা ওই সেন্টেন্সের অর্থের পরিবর্তন বা বিকৃতি ঘটে। রিডিং দ্য বুক আই হ্যাভ আন্ডারস্টুড দ্য থিওরি অফ রিলেটিভিটি। পাস্ট পার্টিসিপল যুক্ত সেন্টেন্সের মূল কর্ম যে ব্যক্তি বা যে বস্তু দ্বারা সংগঠিত হয় সেই ব্যক্তি বা বস্তুই ওই সেন্টেন্সের দ্বিতীয় অংশের সাবজেক্ট হবে, নতুবা ওই সেন্টেন্সের অর্থের পরিবর্তন বা বিকৃতি ঘটে। বেসড অন দিস স্টাডি সেভারাল কনক্লুশনস কুড বি মেড বাই দ্য সায়েন্টিস্ট। সেন্টেন্সের শুরুতে কোনো প্রিপোজিশন থাকলে এর পরের ভার্বের সাথে আইএনজি যুক্ত হয় এবং সেন্টেন্সটির প্রথম অংশের মূল কর্ম যে ব্যক্তি বা বস্তু দ্বারা সংগঠিত হয় সেই ব্যক্তি বা বস্তুই ওই সেন্টেন্সের দ্বিতীয় অংশের সাবজেক্ট হবে, নতুবা ওই সেন্টেন্সের অর্থের পরিবর্তন বা বিকৃতি ঘটবে। আফটার বিং স্টার্টেড দ্য ট্রাক ওয়াজ ড্রিভেন বাই দ্য ড্রাইভার কেয়ারফুলি। সেন্টেন্সের শুরুতে হ্যাভিং থাকলে এর পরের ভার্বের পাস্ট পার্টিসিপল হয় এবং সেন্টেন্সটির প্রথম অংশের মূল কর্ম যে ব্যক্তি বা যে বস্তু দ্বারা সংগঠিত হয় সেই ব্যক্তি বা বস্তুই ওই সেন্টেন্সের দ্বিতীয় অংশের সাবজেক্ট হবে। Having apprehended the hijackers, the security guards wished them off to FBI headquarters. সেন্টেন্সের শুরুতে হ্যাভিং বিন থাকলে এর পরের ভার্বের পাস্ট পার্টিসিপল হয় এবং সেন্টেন্সটির প্রথম অংশের মূল কর্ম যে ব্যক্তি বা যে বস্তু দ্বারা সংগঠিত হয় সেই ব্যক্তি বা বস্তু ওই সেন্টেন্সের দ্বিতীয় অংশের সাবজেক্ট হবে। Having been served lunch, the members of the committee discussed the problem. সেন্টেন্সের শুরুতে রিডিউস অ্যাডভার্বিয়াল ক্লোজ থাকলে উক্ত ক্লোজের কাজ যে ব্যক্তি বা বস্তু দ্বারা সম্পাদিত হয় সেই ব্যক্তি বা বস্তুই ওই সেন্টেন্সের প্রিন্সিপাল ক্লোজের সাবজেক্ট হবে। While walking in the garden she broke her leg. সেন্টেন্সের শুরুতে অ্যাডজেক্টিভ ফ্রেজ থাকলে উক্ত অ্যাডজেক্টিভ ফ্রেজ দ্বারা যে ব্যক্তি বস্তুকে বোঝানো হয়েছে সেন্টেন্সের সাবজেক্ট হিসাবে ওই ব্যক্তি বা বস্তু ব্যবহৃত হবে। Young and inexperienced, I thought the task easy. Unlike most birds, vulture do not have feathers on their heads and necks. Modifier যে নাউন বা প্রোনাউনকে মডিফাই করে সে নাউন বা প্রোনাউনের সাথে বসে। I read the book written on etymology in the room. Similar to the floppy disk, the hard disk stored data in sectors. Having been served lunch, the committee members discussed the problem. Find out the correct sentence. B. As we crossed the street, a car almost struck us. Worn out by a long walk, she fainted. Here, worn out means dangling participle. Choose the correct sentence. B. Having arrived late for practice, the team captain needed a written excuse. No confusion of the grammatical subject occurs in young and inexperienced. I thought the task easy. Choose the correct sentence. C. After jumping off a boat, the man was beaten by a shark. Unlike most birds, vultures do not have feathers on their heads and necks. While going to class, I was beaten by a dog. Tired and exhausted, the passerby took a nap. While biking home before the storm, Jahan had an accident. Choose the correct sentence. C. Flying out the window, the papers were grabbed by him. Choose the correct sentence. A. Running along the street, I felt as if my nose were frozen. Plunging into water, he rescued the drowned child. Choose the correct sentence. B. Being in haste, she left the door open, smaller and flatter than an orange. A tangerine is easy to peel and its sections separate readily. Which sentence is correct? D. Not looking where he was going, he was hit by a car. Choose the correct sentence. A. Walking in the park, he was bitten by a snake. Walking through the forest, the traveler saw the moon above the trees. Find out the correct sentence. C. Knowing little algebra, I found it difficult to solve the problem. কন্ডিশনাল সেন্টেন্স হচ্ছে শর্তমূলক বাক্য। যে সেন্টেন্সে একটি কাজ আরেকটি কাজের উপর নির্ভরশীল থাকে তাকে কন্ডিশনাল সেন্টেন্স বলে। কন্ডিশনাল সেন্টেন্স চার ধরনের: জিরো কন্ডিশনাল, ফার্স্ট কন্ডিশনাল, সেকেন্ড কন্ডিশনাল, থার্ড কন্ডিশনাল। জিরো কন্ডিশনাল: ইফ প্লাস প্রেজেন্ট সিম্পল প্লাস প্রেজেন্ট সিম্পল। ইফ ওয়াটার ফ্রিজেস ইট বিকামস এ সলিড। ওয়াটার বয়েলস ইফ ইউ হিট ইট টু 100 ডিগ্রি সেন্টিগ্রেড। সাধারণত চিরন্তন সত্য, বৈজ্ঞানিক সত্য, অভ্যাসগত সত্য অর্থ প্রকাশে জিরো কন্ডিশনাল হয়। প্রবাবিলিটি সার্টেন বা নিশ্চিত আছে টাইম, এনি টাইম। ওয়াটার বয়েলস ইফ ইউ হিট ইট টু 100 ডিগ্রি সেন্টিগ্রেড। ইফ water is heated to 100 degrees Celsius, it boils and escapes as steam. Give me a telephone number to ring in case I get lost. If oil supplies run out, man may have to fall back on the horse. Here run out means consume all the supply. When water freezes, it turns into ice. However, if you have any particular presence, please be specific. If you stay too long in the sun, your skin burns. If you insist on my coming, you must pay my money. If you want to get a good night's sleep, you must not drink any coffee in the evening since it gives insomnia. First conditional: if plus present indefinite plus subject plus will, may, can plus verb based form. If you come, I will play. একটি অনিশ্চিত ভবিষ্যতের অর্থ প্রদান করে, অর্থাৎ বর্তমান কালের কোনো ঘটনার প্রেক্ষিতে ভবিষ্যৎকালের অন্য কোনো ঘটনা ঘটার সম্ভাবনা থাকবে বোঝাতে। তবে ভবিষ্যৎ কাজটি হতেও পারে, নাও হতে পারে। লাইকলি ফিউচার। Which of the following sentences is correct? D. If you don't hurry, you will miss the plane. If he goes on telling lies, nobody will believe a word he says. If the price is low, demand will increase. If you help me, I will remain grateful, or I shall remain grateful. I will carry an umbrella in case it rains. If you make a delay, you will miss the train. It looks as if she will start crying. You will soon be able to swim if you practice hard. If he wants to play the violin, I shall play the piano for him. If she loses her identity card, she will be in trouble. Even if it rains, I shall come means I will certainly come whether it rains or not. If forests are destroyed, wild animals will lose their natural habitation. If he has time, he will visit us next Friday. If it rains, we will play Ludo. If he has time, he will visit us next Friday. If services are increased, taxes will probably go up. If ruby is heated, it often temporarily loses heat. If ruby is heated, it often temporarily loses its color. If you like this new dress I have bought, I will give it to you. I will give it to you. If you talk much, you will not understand well. A. The more you talk, the less you understand. Second conditional: if plus past indefinite plus would, could, might plus verb based form. If we own the game, we would celebrate with our friends. অতীতকালে কোনো ঘটনার প্রেক্ষিতে অন্য কোনো ঘটনা ঘটার সম্ভাবনা ছিল যাতে আনলাইকলি এবং টাইম হচ্ছে ফিউচার। সেকেন্ড কন্ডিশনাল: if plus subject plus were, object plus subject plus would, could, might plus verb based form. If I were a bird, I would fly. If I were you, I would handle the situation more carefully. If I were a king, if he came, I would go. If we had a boat, we would cross the river. It would be pleasant if we knew where to go. Which one of the following sentences is correct? C. If we had a boat, we would cross the river. If you wanted, I would help you. If your sister were invited, she would come. If I were a bird, I would fly in the sky. If I had a typewriter, I would type myself. If I were a bird, I would fly. I would help you if I could. I would help you if I could. If I had much money, I would help the distressed people. If we had a boat, we would cross the river. If we practice speaking English, we could speak better. Had I the wings of a bird, I could fly in the sky. If he came to take me, if I lived near my office, I would be in time for work. If I were a king, I would not know what sorrows are. If cigarettes were banned, life would become healthy. Complete the sentence. If the sun didn't shine, fruits, they wouldn't ripen. The streets would be wet if it rained. If I were a millionaire, I would help every worthy cause. Choose the right form of verb in the bracket. If you wanted, I would help you. If I were you, I would never do it. If I were going to enter the competition, I would have done so by now. If the roof fell, we all would die. If I went to the cinema, I would watch an interesting film. If people were a little more tolerant, our world would be a better place. If there were a concert today, I would go. Choose the correct sentence. B. If I found a bag in the street, I would take it to the police. If I found a lost dog, I would return it to its owner. If I were you, I wouldn't buy that shirt. It's too much expensive. If only I were richer. If today were Saturday, I could play cricket. If you were driving from Dhaka to Rajshahi, which way would you go? Identify the correct sentence. B. If he supported me, I would become glad. If I were you, I would not trust a man like Mr. K. If I were a king, I would see to the people's misery. Here, where is I were you, I would not buy that coat. It's too expensive. If I had a typewriter, I would type myself. He speaks as if he were a leader. If I were rich, I would help the poor. If humans were totally deprived of sleep, they would experience hallucinations, anxiety, coma, and eventually death. If teaching paid more, fewer teachers would leave the profession. If you bought one box at the regular price, you would receive another one at no extra cost. Third conditional. If plus past perfect plus subject plus would have, could have, asa. If she had studied harder, she would have done well. অতীতকালে ঘটে যাওয়া কোনো ঘটনার প্রেক্ষিতে অন্য কোনো ঘটনা ঘটে যাওয়ার সম্ভাবনা ছিল বোঝাতে ইম্পসিবল ফার্স্ট থার্ড কন্ডিশনাল বি হ্যাড আই বিন ইন ইউর সিচুয়েশন আই উড হ্যাভ অ্যাকসেপ্টেড দ্য অফার ইফ বাদ দেওয়া যায় এবং পাস্ট পারফেক্টের হ্যাডটিকে সাবজেক্টের আগে বসাতে হয় ব্যতিক্রমী কিছু কন্ডিশনাল রয়েছে তার নিম্নরূপ ইফ ইউ উড হেল্প মি আই শ্যাল বি ভেরি গ্রেটফুল টু ইউ ইফ ইউ ওয়ান্ট টু কাম আই উইল ওয়েট ফর ইউ ইফ ইউ উড লাইক টু কাম আই উইল ওয়েট ফর ইউ দিস কুড হ্যাভ ওয়ার্কড ইফ আই হ্যাড বিন মোর কনশিয়াস হোয়াট উড হ্যাভ হ্যাপেন্ড ইফ দ্য ব্রিজ হ্যাড ব্রোকেন he would have been arrested if he had tried to leave the country if I had known you were coming I would have gone to the station he would have come to see us if he had been able to I would have never taken the job if I had known what additional pressures it will create for me if the driver had been more careful the accident might not have occurred had he studied regularly, he would have succeeded. This could have worked if I had been more far-sighted. Had I been rich, I would have helped the poor. If Napoleon had not invaded Russia, he would have conquered the rest of Europe. If you had brushed your teeth carefully, you would have had fewer cavities. If I had written the address down, I could have sent the document. If he had tried to leave the country, he would have been stopped at the frontier. If the room had been brighter, I would have been able to read for a while before bedtime. I would have picked you up from the airport if I had known that you had planned to arrive today. Choose the correct interruption of the sentence. If the rain had stopped, we might have gone to the football match. D. We were not allowed to go because of the rain. If I had seen you, I would have called you. Had I known in advance, I would have taken enough money. He would never have had the accident if you hadn't driven so fast. If I going to enter the competition, I would have done so by now. Had it prepared better, the team would have been able to defeat the opponent. Had I been in your situation, I would have accepted the offer. If she had studied harder, she would have done well. If I had had Aladdin's magic lamp, I would have solved all the problems of our country. Had you taken greater care, you could have avoided the sufferings. If you had tried, you would have won. If we had added salt, the soup would have been tastier. If Mike had been able to finish his homework, he would have come to class. I would have helped you if you had asked for it. If I hadn't been following that other car too closely, I would have been able to stop in time instead of running into it. If she had studied harder, she would have done well. If I had not intervened at the right moment, Jim might have been arrested. If এর বদলে should ব্যবহার করেও কন্ডিশনাল বাক্য তৈরি করা যায় যেমন should I need more help I could call my neighbor if I should need more help I could call my neighbor if I happened to need more help I could call my neighbor if I should happen to need more help I could call my neighbor should it rain there will be no picnic today if it should rain there will be no picnic today should I need more help I could call my neighbor should I pass the test I will graduate should I become rich I would travel more if I were rich I would travel more. Should anything happens, call this number. Should we be unable to reach our goal, we will try again. Should he call, can you please answer right away? If he calls, can you please answer right away? Should you wish to cancel your order, please contact our customer care department. Unless, যদি না, unless, if not, unless water freezes, it doesn't become a solid. যখন কোনো কাজ বা কোনো ঘটনা না ঘটার প্রেক্ষিতে অন্য কোনো কাজ ঘটনা না ঘটার সম্ভাবনা দেখা যায় এই স্ট্রাকচার অতীত বর্তমান ও ভবিষ্যৎকালের যে কোনো বাক্যে ব্যবহৃত হয় অর্থাৎ না বোধক শর্ত বোঝাতে ব্যবহৃত আনলেস হয় আনলেস যুক্ত সেন্টেন্সে নট বসে না unless you maintain at least a 2 GPA you will not be graduated from medical school. The boy would not be forgiven unless he apologized sincerely. I will not go unless I am invited. হোপ ভার্বটি সেন্টেন্সের প্রেজেন্ট ফর্মে থাকলে পরবর্তী ক্লোজটি ফিউচার ইনডিফিনিট হবে। আই হোপ দ্যাট শি উইল আন্ডারস্ট্যান্ড মি। কিন্তু সেন্টেন্সের শেষে যদি পাস্ট টাইম মার্কার ইয়েস্টারডে এগো লাস্ট টাইম থাকে তাহলে পরবর্তী ক্লোজ এর ভার্বের পাস্ট ফর্ম হবে উই হোপ দ্যাট দে কেম ইয়েস্টারডে। হোপ ভার্বটি পাস্ট ফর্মে বা পাস্ট পারফেক্ট টেন্সে থাকলে পরবর্তী ক্লোজে উড প্লাস ভার্ব হবে আই হোপ দ্যাট ইউ উড কাম। হোপ ভার্বটি পাস্ট ফর্মে থাকলে এবং পরবর্তী ক্লোজে পাস্ট টাইম মার্কার ইয়েস্টারডে এগো লাস্ট টাইম থাকলে সেখানে পাস্ট পারফেক্ট টেন্স হবে আই হোপ দ্যাট ইউ হ্যাড পাসড ইন দ্য লাস্ট এক্সাম। উইশ সেন্টেন্সে উইশ থাকলে পরবর্তী ক্লোজটি পাস্ট টেন্স হবে। বি ভার্ব থাকলে ওয়্যার হবে আই উইশ আই অ্যান্সার্ড অল দ্য কোশ্চেন্স কারেক্টলি। আই উইশ হি ওয়্যার দ্য প্রেসিডেন্ট অফ দ্য নিউ কমিটি। কিন্তু পরবর্তী ক্লোজে যদি পাস্ট মার্কার থাকে তাহলে পরের ক্লোজটি পাস্ট ইনডিফিনিট টেন্সে হবে উই উইশ দ্যাট দে কেম ইয়েস্টারডে। কিন্তু পরবর্তী ক্লোজে ফিউচার মার্কার থাকলে উড কুড প্লাস ভার্ব হবে আই উইশ দ্যাট ইউ কুড অথবা ইউ উড কাম হোম টুমরো। উইশ ভার্বটি পাস্ট ফর্মে থাকলে পরের ভার্বটি পাস্ট পারফেক্ট টেন্সে হবে আই উইশড হি হ্যাড ডান দ্য ওয়ার্ক। মোর অন কন্ডিশনালস ইফ প্লাস ওয়ার টু প্লাস ভার্ব এই ধরনের স্ট্রাকচার দিয়ে ভবিষ্যতের কল্পিত অবস্থা প্রকাশ করা যায়। ইফ আই ওয়ার টু চেঞ্জ মাই মাইন্ড আই উড টেক ইট। ইফ এর পরে উড কুড মাইট বসানো যায় তবে এটি ভদ্রতা সংখ্যা প্রকাশ করে। ইফ ইউ স্টপ স্মোকিং বাট ফর ইউর হেল্প আই উড ফেল ইন মাই লাস্ট এক্সাম। বাট ফর ইউর হেল্প আই উড হ্যাভ ফেলড ইন মাই লাস্ট এক্সাম। বি জিরো বা পার্সন আচ্ছা ইফ হি ইজ সিক হি উইল নট কাম। ইফ হি ওয়ার সিক হি উড নট কাম। ইফ হি হ্যাড বিন সিক হি উড নট হ্যাভ কাম। If I have money, I will help the poor. If I had money, I would help the poor. If I had money, I would have helped. If I had money, I would have helped the poor. If I had money, I would have helped the poor. I wish I were a cricketer. I wish that I had enough time to work. I wish I were a millionaire. I wish I would have met him 30 years earlier. I wish he were the president of the new committee. পিন পয়েন্টিং এরর্স ডিসকাশন। বিভিন্ন প্রতিযোগিতামূলক পরীক্ষায় পিন পয়েন্ট এরর থেকে প্রশ্ন আসে যেখানে একটি বাক্যের বিভিন্ন ধরনের গ্রামাটিক্যাল ভুল থাকে যেমন টেন্স, ভয়েস, সাবজেক্ট, ভার্ব, এগ্রিমেন্ট, জেন্ডার, পার্টিসিপল, জিরান, নাম্বার প্রভৃতি। বাক্যের এই সকল ভুল আইডেন্টিফাই করতে কিছু সুনির্দিষ্ট রুলস জানা জরুরি। এই চ্যাপ্টারে পিন পয়েন্ট এরর সংক্রান্ত কিছু গুরুত্বপূর্ণ রুলস, স্ট্রাকচার ও এক্সাম্পল সহকারে দেখানো হলো। মেনি পিপল ওয়ান্ট টু বি রিচ অ্যান্ড হ্যাপি ওভারনাইট। He wants to be rich and happy overnight. One of my friends is sick. I study a lot with a view to getting a good job. I have seen much well inside the tank. I have seen many students in the classroom. The doctor had come before the patient died. The doctor came after the patient had died. I can go there. They need buy foods. In spite of studying hard, he did not pass BCS preliminary exam. Despite poverty, the man has won his success. I wish you were my friend. The only error in the sentence, one of the recommendation made by the committee was accepted by the authorities is a recommendation. এটা হচ্ছে ভুল। One of that for a plural noun recommendations হবে। Every man or woman should vote for the candidate for his or her choice. A doctor may be able to diagnose a problem perfectly, but he may not be able to find a drug to which the patient will respond. According to expert, a good way to improve listening skill is by watching television. I believe that between John and Tom, John is the wiser. Being a good negotiator is something that comes only with experience. The receptionist told me that I would have to come at a later time to meet the manager. Number ভুল, at a later period of time হবে। It is natural for your parents to have high expectations from you. 837 পৃষ্ঠা লাগবে না, 837 পৃষ্ঠা যেগুলো শুধু ব্যাখ্যা আছে সেগুলো পড়বো। Passive smoking is defined as the exposure of non-smokers to environmental tobacco smoke. Married women are twice as likely as married men to be depressed. 9 number. If it had not been for the computerized register tape from the grocery store, I would never have been able to figure out my expenditure. 10 number. Being a good swimmer, Mir jumped into the water and rescued the drowning child. Today, the number of people who enjoy winter sports is almost double that of 20 years ago. 1 number. Copper is a metal which is easily worked and which is mixed well with other metals to form alloys. 15 number. Mumps is a very common disease which usually affects children. 16 number. The leader emphasized the need for justice and equality among his people. I do not know where he could have gone so early in the morning. 21 number. বিতে such হবে। Transplanting organs such hearts and kidneys has proved easier than transplantation muscles. Bicyclists enjoy riding across country and through small towns. এগুলো লাগবে না। Buying food by means of solar energy is an ancient process applied wherever food and climate conditions make it possible.